Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 5 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
We're entering what could be the last week of the evidence phase in the trial of Chad Daybell.
And today could be a critical day in the process. KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce is live to explain. Becky?
Amanda, the defense rested last week without Chad Daybell taking the stand in his own defense. The state of Idaho then started calling rebuttal witnesses and made it through several before adjourning for the weekend. But today, KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas tells me they're likely to wrap up, which means closing arguments could take place as soon as tomorrow or Thursday, with the jury getting the case before the weekend. Chad Daybell, of course, is accused of murder and conspiracy in the deaths of his late wife, Tammy Daybell, and the children of his second wife, Lori Vallow, JJ Vallow, and Tylee Ryan. If convicted, this same jury will decide whether to sentence Chad Daybell to death. Live, Becky Bruce, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is in Boise for the trial, and we'll catch up with him at 7 o'clock this morning. The latest information on the trial is available at our website at kslnewsradio.com.
The South Salt Lake Police Department says a driver attempted to murder a policeman with his car not even a month after a Santaquin officer was killed in a similar fashion. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with more. Peter?
Amanda, in South Salt Lake this Saturday, as well as in Santaquin 19 days ago, officers approached a suspect with a criminal history in their car. That officer did try to get away, but not before the suspect revved their engines and hit them. This time, Metro Gang Unit members were following up on a federal warrant for a man who was already on bail for burglary of a dwelling. When one officer threw a spike strip to stop the man's truck, an arresting document says the suspect turned toward the officer and accelerated. This officer went over the hood and hit the ground hard enough to cut his radio. We'll be checking in with the South Salt Lake Police Department about the status of that officer, as well as another officer who was injured on the scene. The suspect faces several felony charges, including one for attempted murder. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Police are still searching for the suspects of an attempted robbery this weekend. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with that story. Michael.
Tim, Sandy PD responded to the parking lot where the robbery first happened, and they later pieced together that the victims followed the robbers. And at one point, one of the robbers pulled a gun and fired a few shots at the pursuing victims. Now, eventually, the victims crashed near Jordan High School, but police spokesman Greg Moffitt says they can't confirm if the shooting caused it, and they're still investigating how the crash happened. Moffitt says if you're ever the victim of a robbery, please don't take things into your own hands and let the police do their thing. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
A man is in police custody after police say he started assaulting random people during Mass at the Cathedral of the Madeleine in Salt Lake City. The man allegedly entered the building during the service and just started attacking people with a bamboo wooden sword. He is facing multiple counts of assault.
A man is in correction here. Our top national story this hour. Closing arguments begin today in the former president's criminal hush money trial.
On the evening before closing arguments in his criminal trial, Donald Trump took to social media to complain that prosecutors will have the last word before the jury. Under New York state law, defense attorneys deliver their closing argument first, followed by prosecutors. Trump writing on social media, quote, "Big advantage, very unfair." Trump also attacked Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and the judge overseeing his case. Comments permitted under the case's limited gag order. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
A Pennsylvania father who spent more than a week in jail in Turks and Caicos is speaking out about his ordeal. Brian Hagerich was detained after he says he accidentally left some ammunition in his luggage. He pleaded guilty and received a suspended sentence of 52 weeks and a fine of $6,700. He was grateful to leave jail behind.
I was with three folks that were accused of murder. It was scary. You just don't know who's next to you, who's coming in.
Hagerich and his wife spoke exclusively with ABC's Good Morning America. He is one of a handful of Americans detained in Turks and Caicos under their gun control laws in the last 6 months.
Time for us to get our first look traffic check in the morning. Let's head over to the traffic center. Andy Farnsworth.
Well, finally, people got home after a long wait yesterday afternoon. It looks like everything's open on I-80 heading out to Tooele. Got so far so good on our freeways heading into Salt Lake for those who are back to work today. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A preschooler from Beaver continues to recover after almost drowning last Tuesday. KSL TV's Brittany Tate spoke with family spokesman Mindy Clark and has more.
Levi has been sedated for safety reasons after he woke up and lifted his head a few nights ago. One particular nurse who has grown close to the family hasn't wanted to leave his side.
For this same nurse to just intuitively know that he likes people around, it's like it just goes to show God's hand is still at work.
Clark says Levi has gotten support from Uganda and Australia.
What a great story.
Yeah.
The number of Utah parents reporting their child has ADHD is growing, and some patients may still struggle to find medication. Physicians Associate at the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, Bron Tuller, says that Utah is more notorious for prescribing ADHD medication with little to no therapy.
For people who need medications to be appropriately prescribed them, but to especially be coming at this from a behavioral standpoint as well through therapy.
Tuller says the cause of a high diagnosis rate could be affected by the increase of influencers talking about ADHD on social media.
Kids go hungry over the summer more than any other time of year. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
When kids don't have school lunch or breakfast to rely on, it can leave a big gap in nutrition for those facing food insecurity. President and CEO of the Utah Food Bank, Jeanette Bott, says more and more people are now impacted due to inflation. She says food pantries are seeing increased numbers even before the hungriest season hits.
Bott says donations of food, time, or money are incredibly helpful to keep the food pantries running through the summer.
Parents with younger children are having a harder time with their finances, according to new data from the Federal Reserve. It dropped from 69% in 2022 to 64% last year. That was down from a record high of 75% in 2021. Experts say pandemic-era funds and rising child care costs have destabilized families' budgets.
Man, we had some traffic problems yesterday.
Yeah, we had a lot. We had another wrong-way crash, too, on the freeways.
That. So tragic. But this morning, all is quiet, at least for now. We'll check traffic and weather coming up next.
Spend your workday with a talk show that makes you feel better about the news.
Debbie is the voice of reason, and Dave reminds me of my little brother. Well-spoken, and they're a great team together.
Dave and Debbie, live from 9 to noon, or podcast the show on the app for KSL News Radio.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices. Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips? But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. Or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to new, NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
We're going to be keeping an eye on Boise today as the final evidence phase anyway, of the trial of Chad Daybell goes on. And our Adam Small is actually there in Idaho's capital city, so we'll be checking in with him a little later this morning. 5:09, time for a look at traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy, you said we're off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, everything's open on I-80 after yesterday's closure for a good chunk of the day. We've got good speed so far on I-15 for those who are out and about. City streets all crash-free in the Salt Lake Valley so far as well. Heather?
It's the same up north. No accidents reported through Weber and Davis counties. We've got good speeds, not a lot of traffic yet, so anybody hopping on I-15 out of Ogden should get into downtown Salt Lake in less than 30 minutes. Eric?
And looks
pretty trouble-free in Utah County, too. Northbound from Provo to Point of the Mountain, that's a 20-minute drive going out through Provo Canyon on 189 or through Parley's Canyon on I-80. That's looking good to the Wasatch back. S&S Roofing is your trusted source for quality and affordability. They've been the top roofing company in Utah for over 40 years. Schedule an estimate now. Get a free quote at snsroofinginc.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Temperatures to start this Memorial Day will be in the low 50s and highs will climb into the upper 70s near 80. We'll have mostly sunny skies throughout the day today, and that trend will continue through Tuesday, but temperatures climb. We're tracking highs to be the warmest of the year in the mid to upper 80s on Tuesday. Then a cold front will bring an isolated shower chance to northern Utah Wednesday in the afternoon and evening, along with some cooler temperatures to close out the work week. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mashuli.
88 degrees today? Wow.
Is that what it says?
That's
88?
what it says.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's a red number. I don't know if that means we're going to be near or at records, but it will feel like it for sure. 57 now in Salt Lake City.
Wow. Yeah, yesterday almost felt like summer for the first time.
Yeah, it was beautiful outside.
Well, Governor Cox was among other state leaders who spoke at a Memorial Day celebration. We'd like to share with you a little of what he had to say. That's coming up in just a moment.
Stay with us, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Over the years, I've talked a lot about hard water takes years off the life of water heaters and other appliances in your home. Leaves scum on the shower walls, and you almost need a jackhammer to remove that. I've talked about how Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer, their water softeners are maintenance-free. You just don't need adjustment, and they do the job with 2/3 less salt than other softeners. But today, I want to talk about the exhilarating feeling of stepping into a hot bath or shower and feeling that pure, soft water cascade over your skin. It feels like every pore in your body wants to stand up and start singing. And afterward, there are no itchy hard water deposits sticking all over you. You really should look into a soft water system from Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. You can learn more about Connecticut by giving them a call at 801-576-8600 or log on to Softwater Utah. Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. Then sit back and enjoy your shower even more.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
police say they've arrested a man after he attempted to murder an officer with his car in South Salt Lake. It happens less than a month after a truck driver allegedly killed Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hoosier. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, police are still searching for the suspects of an attempted robbery this weekend in Sandy. Victims of the robbery tried to follow them before crashing.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
So far, no crashes on the freeways. Pretty light traffic, although traffic's a bit heavy on the collector ramp right now near 21st South, going up past the Home Depot, but not on the main flow itself heading into downtown. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll get up to 88 degrees today. Lots of sunshine. Tomorrow will be 79. Right now it's 57 at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Time for our top national story as Israel answering questions about a strike in Rafah.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Deadly airstrike in Rafah. Israel calling it a tragic mistake. 2 Hamas leaders were killed, but the missile started a firestorm in a refugee camp. Here's ABC's Perry Russum.
50 people were killed, hundreds injured, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. This woman saying, "We were here in tents and suddenly we found rockets falling on us. There is nowhere safe for us to go." Her family now forced to move for the 8th time.
The Biden administration warned Israel weeks ago not to attack heavily populated areas. Spain moving to formally recognize a Palestinian state. Ireland and Norway are expected to follow shortly. Severe weather, the hallmark of this Memorial Day weekend, from the plains to the East Coast.
The weekend storms killed at least 22 people from Texas to Kentucky. And in Missouri, at least 5 tornadoes reported near St. Louis, damaging several homes and businesses. More than 5,000 flights were delayed nationwide, and hundreds were canceled.
That's ABC's Andrew Dimbert. Today, closing arguments begin in Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial in New York. Jury deliberations are expected to start tomorrow. Trump is charged in connection with payments made during the 2016 election to prevent an adult film star from going public with claims of a sexual encounter. The former president denies any wrongdoing. Basketball Hall of Famer Bill Walton has died after a long battle with cancer. Here's ABC's Trevor Alt.
Walton was one of the best to ever play the sport. A 2-time NCAA champion at UCLA and 3-time Player of the Year, picked first overall in the 1974 NBA draft. He won championships with the Portland Trail Blazers and Boston Celtics, earning regular season and finals MVP honors, all while trumpeting the importance of teamwork and unselfishness.
After injuries ended his NBA career, Walton became a well-loved basketball broadcaster known for tie-dye T-shirts and his love of the Grateful Dead. You're listening to ABC News.
Governor Spencer Cox was one of many state leaders to speak at a Memorial Day celebration.
He emphasized the sacrifice and importance of serving the country, regardless of political ideology.
I'm grateful for the patriots that are here today. Patriotism is not a T-shirt. Patriotism is not a bumper sticker. It's not about how loud you are. Patriotism is about what you do to forget about yourself. Patriotism is never selfish. Patriotism is selfless. Patriotism is about building our communities and making them better. And, if called upon, being willing to give our life for this idea. I hope that every one of us is willing to die for the idea of America. But if not called upon to give our lives, it's my prayer that we will wear out our lives giving back to this place that has given us so much. May God bless every one of you veterans who have served. May God bless the memory of those who have died in service to our nation. And may God continue to bless the greatest nation in the history of the world, the United States of America.
Governor Spencer Cox speaking yesterday.
Well, it was, I always love going by cemeteries.
Me too.
Memorial Day weekend, just to see all of the flags and all of the flowers and people taking the time. Some not even knowing who is buried there. They just know they gave service. Yeah. And that old line about, some gave all, or all gave some, but some gave all.
Yes.
Just a great weekend, and I hope everybody had the opportunity to go out and at least show that love and support to someone in your community. A great turnout, I know, in the cemeteries around West Jordan where we live out there.
Yeah.
That is the in-depth this morning at 15 and 45.
5:19, traffic and weather together brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy?
Amanda, traffic a little bit heavy, mouth of Parley's Canyon on 215 as you get ready to turn into the canyon. But so far, so good on the main corridor of I-15. It looked a little bit heavy on the collector ramp near 21st South. Looked like just maybe a slow-moving single vehicle. Traffic is good to go so far on Mountain View and Bangor heading north. Heather?
We are still accident-free up north through Weber and Davis counties. No problems on the city streets or major freeways. Things are even quiet trying to get into Hill Air Force Base so far this morning. So overall, it's a really good start to your drive. Eric?
And in Utah County, no problems if you're out in the Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs, not this early. Going east over to the freeway using 2100 North or Pioneer Crossing. Northbound Redwood Road looks good, as does I-15 from Santaquin all the way to Point of the Mountain. No obstructions to your drive and a 30-minute commute. Get ready for memorable summer evenings with the Utah Symphony, July 5th through August 9th in Park City. Tickets are on sale now at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at that 7-day forecast. Today we get up to 88 degrees. That's our highest day of the year, isn't it? Warmest day of the year,
I would
Tim?
say, yeah.
All right. Tomorrow, though, we drop 10 degrees, 79, 73 on Thursday. There's our cool one for the next 7 days. We have, looks like just a small chance of rain today and tomorrow, and then the rest of the week, no chance of rain. But we get back up into the upper 70s by the weekend, so the weekend will be really nice again. Right now, it is 57 degrees downtown.
Coming up in a minute, we'll see what's happening with money news. I don't know where we ended the week last week. Friday, everything was in the green, especially the tech stocks. Man, they were up over a full percentage point. Dow was basically flat. We'll see what the futures numbers look like this morning in just a minute.
7-day forecast, by the way, brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Did you get your barbecue in? I was worried about you on Saturday because it was pouring down rain, and I thought he's supposed to be barbecuing today.
We ended up going to dinner with friends at a great place. You've seen it, I'm sure, out there on Mountain View Corridor called The Garage.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever been in there?
I have always wanted to go.
My goodness.
It looks so cool.
It's called a garage, The Garage, because it has real car lifts inside. And the seating is underneath these vehicles. And these are all race cars.
Oh, wow.
Like real, competition race vehicles. Yeah. And so we kind of couched it as going out to celebrate the Indy 500 weekend by having dinner at the garage. It was a lot of fun.
I've got to go there. It does look like fun.
Yeah. All right, we'll check your money news coming up in a minute.
The key to unlock the next breakthrough in cancer research could be sitting in your driveway. Stand Up to Cancer's vehicle donation program makes it easy to turn your unwanted vehicle into funding to support innovative cancer research. So when you're looking to get rid of your old car, truck, motorcycle, RV, or boat, why not donate it to Stand Up to Cancer? You can be a driving force in cancer research. Donate your car today. Visit standuptocancer.org/cars to learn more.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
I'm Jenny Taylor.
And I'm Michelle Scharf.
We are excited to invite you to listen to our podcast, Relentlessly Resilient. Each week, a guest shares their own powerful stories of enduring challenges and the tools of resiliency they have learned along the way. Sometimes it's the small steps of finding their support system, knowing that they're loved, and being kind to themselves.
And what I love is that we can see everybody has a story, something they've been through, lessons they've learned, something to share and add to this conversation. We all come away uplifted and enlightened and really educated on certain steps we can take and tools we can develop ourselves so that we can also move forward and live our best lives.
Find us on KSLpodcast.com, the KSL News Radio app, or your favorite podcast platform.
And remember, whatever you do today, remember to be kind. You have no idea the struggles other people are dealing with in their lives.
We are watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Up to half of all credit reports could have mistakes, meaning a potential impact to credit scores. Consumer Reports and Work Money scrutinized the credit reports of more than 4,000 volunteers to see how accurate they are. 44% included errors, Tim. More than a quarter of those errors damaged their credit score. Wow.
You know, I was thinking about our friends at Utah Community Credit Union and how they give you all of the tools that you need to check that on a regular basis and actually dispute things. And
there might be something there you don't even know about.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And for most people, they never check it, in great detail what's going on. Retailers are offering some big summer sales in hopes that you will be more likely to spend some cash in spite of inflation. Target, Walmart, I think we talked about Target last week, that they were marking down, 5,000 items or something? But along with some other big box stores have announced some big price cuts, mostly in their grocery section.
If you do want to splurge, restaurant chains are ready to help you out. Today is National Hamburger Day.
There you go.
Burger King is offering a free burger with purchase of pretty much anything else. Wendy's is offering a junior bacon cheeseburger for $1, and dozens of other chains have similar offers.
We're all in the green across the board with the futures this morning. The Dow, not much, though. Oh, wait a minute. That's Friday. Let me hit the futures here. There we go. All right. So the Dow is basically flat. It's down 33. The S&P is up 7.5, and the NASDAQ is up about 54 points.
We've got nice movement this morning on I-15 from Ogden to Provo. No crashes to report, but we'll check at traffic and weather together coming up next.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Dear Class of 2024, you're donning caps and gowns just as things reach a tipping point. War overseas, protests, artificial intelligence. It seems like a lot, but you're just the kind of people to build a new sense of hope. Congratulations, graduates. Make the world proud. And better. A message of hope for the future from your friends at KSL News Radio.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
KSL News Time, 5:29. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st. Isn't today June 1st? No, it's coming up this weekend. You can celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. All right, Andy, how we looking?
We're actually looking pretty good. Dry roads, excellent speeds, light traffic for the most part. A little bit of heavy traffic southbound 15 around 5300 South right now. Haven't seen any delays crossing the valley on the 21st South Freeway or on 215's west side. The east side looks like maybe a little bit of heavy traffic coming out of Parley's and heading south on 215. Heather?
Traffic's still pretty light in Weber and Davis County. Haven't seen any delays or brake lights southbound I-15 from Ogden to Salt Lake. If you are trying to get to the airport, you have good speeds on Legacy Parkway and the West Side Belt coming out of Farmington, and no problems going through the mountains on I-84 to and from Morgan. Eric?
No difficulties this morning in Utah County. It looks good from Provo to Lehigh. That's a 20-minute drive on I-15 if you're getting on University Avenue. Out in the Wasatch Back, a little bit of slowing, US 40 northbound as you go up for the hill to Jordanelle Reservoir, and then past that, once you get back on level ground, so to speak, once again, you're back to normal speeds. Revere Health encourages you to schedule your preventative care and annual checkups to help increase the potential to live your most healthy and active life. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner in life. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looks like today will be our warmest day of the year. 88 is the high for today, 79 tomorrow. Slight chance of a shower today and tomorrow. Then we cool down Thursday, only 73 for high, but lots of sunshine. Then we get back up into the 80s, even upper 80s by the weekend. So that's a nice forecast for the summer. Right now, downtown, fair skies and 57 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
A BYU alum is running for Senate in Missouri, and the director of Evan McMullen's independent presidential run in 2016 is helping him start a new political party.
KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston reports live. Peter?
Amanda, independent Senate candidate Jared Young has a video on his campaign website in Missouri summing up the ethos of his run and the new party that he's starting.
The greatest way to love your country is to love your neighbor. That's the only way any of this gets better. Partisan politics will never be able to bring us together.
He's running on the ticket for what he calls the Better Party, which will support candidates who, 1, treat opponents with respect, 2, consider good ideas no matter from where, and 3, reject any means for an end mentality. He's enlisted the support of McMullen's presidential campaign director, Joel Searby, who tells KSL.com he sees real potential in Young because of his character and that he's putting so much skin in the game. Young has donated $245,000 so far to his campaign. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Utah Senator Mike Lee was met with boos at the Libertarian National Convention this weekend. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with more details. Michael?
Tim, Senator Lee made a pitch for Donald Trump before leaving the podium, and the crowd's response was captured and shared on social media.
Take a listen to Donald Trump, support Donald Trump, restore the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Senator Lee was telling the Libertarian crowd that even though they don't agree with Trump, things would be better with him than with President Joe Biden. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
An iconic statue in the Utah Capitol building will soon be on its way to the nation's capital. The statue of Martha Hughes Cannon, the state's first female state senator and a pioneer in women's suffrage, will be displayed in the Capitol's Hall of Statues. It will represent Utah alongside a statue of Brigham Young.
An arson investigation is underway after nearly a century-old meeting house for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints burned down over the weekend. Local resident Amy Luter says that looters were or have tried to break into the church.
Police have had to take out big groups of people with all their stuff several times.
Firefighters had to rescue 2 people inside the building when the fire first broke out.
Sandy police say a resident of a homeless shelter is under arrest on suspicion of murder.
Investigators say 60-year-old Laura Northrup was in custody Monday morning facing charges of investigation of murder, tampering with evidence. A probable cause affidavit says the body of the victim, Stephanie Lynn Hackett Carrasco, was discovered late Sunday afternoon by another roommate. Evidence, including video surveillance, blood found on a red fanny pack-style bag that the suspect was holding when she returned to the room, led to Northrup's arrest. The Medically Vulnerable People Program facility in Sandy, formerly an Econo-Lodge, provides housing and medical care to seniors, veterans, and the medically frail who are experiencing homelessness. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
Westbound I-80 was closed for several hours over the holiday after a wrong-way crash. Utah Highway Patrol says they got calls of a reckless driver before the crash. The driver hit a pickup truck pulling a horse trailer. The occupants were okay. The driver was taken to the hospital in serious condition. Impairment is being investigated as a possible factor.
KSL's top national stories now. A swath of storms carved a path of destruction from the plains to the east coast over the holiday weekend. Now, as residents clean up, it's impacting air travel.
The weekend storms killed at least 22 people from Texas to Kentucky. And in Missouri, at least 5 tornadoes reported near St. Louis, damaging several homes and businesses. More than 5,000 flights were delayed nationwide, and hundreds were canceled.
That's ABC's Andrew Dimbert reporting.
Todd and Lisa Smith are trying to pick up the pieces in Valley View, Texas, after a tornado touched down in that area. The Smiths lost a horse and some other animals.
Thought of having to rebuild it all again. I mean, I don't know if we've got the energy to do it.
Hundreds of other homes in the area were affected.
First look traffic now on a Tuesday morning that feels like a Monday morning, Andy.
It does.
What's going
people
on?
are going to think it's Monday, but it is Tuesday, and it's looking good, at least on the main flow of I-15, both towards Salt Lake from Ogden and from Provo. We've had some heavy traffic coming out of Parley's Canyon on that ramp that puts you onto 215, and I see some flashing lights, it looks like on 33rd South, just after the exit off 215, but I don't see any big delay from that. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
This is interesting. Some mineral resources in short supply have been found here in Utah.
We know that these rare earth elements are there now, that we've done some work.
University of Utah Associate Professor Laura Bergenheyer says that work involved studying active coal mines in eastern Utah and western Colorado for the past couple of years.
There's been evidence that actually coal deposits do a pretty good job of actually preserving some of these heavier rare earth elements, and those are particularly valuable in a lot of different modern products in magnet in clean energy transition.
She says right now the U.S. has to rely on other countries, especially China, for these rare earth elements, many of which are critical to clean energy. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Basketball fans are saying goodbye to one of the giants in the sport. Bill Walton was known for his on-court heroics and his off-court personality. At the age of 71, Bill Walton has died of cancer. ABC's Andrew Dimbert reports.
At UCLA, he led the Bruins to 2 NCAA championships. After he was chosen first in the 1974 NBA draft, he'd win championships with the Trailblazers and Celtics, picking up regular season and finals MVP awards before foot injuries cut his career short. Then an improbable second act. Walton fought through a lifelong stutter to become one of the game's most adored broadcasters.
He really will be missed.
You know, he was one of a kind, and Utah fans were just brutal with him with his play-by-play. It was either one of those situations where you loved him or you hated him.
I loved him.
It was just an acquired taste.
I didn't know we were brutal.
Well, because the game would be going on, and he would have these sideline stories that would then somehow morph into talking about the Grateful Dead, and and
yeah. I remember that. He was a Grateful Dead fan.
And burning sage in the locker room, and everybody's wondering what's going on the floor. But he was definitely one of a kind, and sad to hear that he has passed. Thousands of athletes from the U.S. and around the world are getting ready for the Summer Olympic Games in Paris, and their mental health is becoming more of a focus.
Stress, anxiety, and frustration are common emotions an Olympic athlete may feel leading up to the Games. But something commonly felt after the competition is grief. Grief because the competition is over, that they didn't get gold, that maybe they missed a family event, or suffered an injury that prevented them from doing their best. Sports psychologist Dr. Natasha Trujillo says grief is all about patience.
The only way to handle grief is to be with it and go through it and sit with it, which is really, really hard for elite athletes because they're productive.
Alessandra Gurr, KSL News Radio.
It's a pretty good drive this morning on the freeways and major feeders to those freeways. We'll take a look. Traffic and weather together coming up next.
Reliability, steadiness, trusted voices.
I'll listen to KSL in the morning. I use it to find my weather, to find my traffic. When you ask me what news is, I think of KSL first.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We had more wild weather over the weekend, including in places or parts of Texas. We're following up on that for you this morning.
5:39, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy?
Amanda, it actually looks really good on the freeway, I-15 so far. A little bit heavy on Bangor already up near the 21st South Freeway. It'd be interesting to see just how heavy the volume gets today and how many people are working. But right now, you've got a clean drive and delay-free as you head towards Salt Lake City. Heather?
We're also at freeway speeds, southbound I-15 through Weber and Davis County. Your drive from Ogden to Salt Lake is going to be less than 30 minutes. You also have a smooth drive on US 89, I-84 through the mountains. City streets are starting to see just a little bit more traffic, but nothing that's causing any delay. Eric?
Heading out to Park City on I-80, we do have some slow-moving vehicles through Lambs Canyon as you start the uphill drive to the top of Parley Summit, but that's pretty minimal as far as the effect it's going to have on you if you stick to the left. Maybe no effect at all. I-15 Utah County, northbound, southbound, that's in good shape too. Use Superior Water and Air for all your HVAC and plumbing needs. Call 974-9090 or visit SuperiorWaterandAir.com. Superior Water and Air. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
This Memorial Day is going to be a beautiful day with mostly sunny skies, temperatures starting in the low 50s, climbing into the low 70s by lunchtime, then highs will be near 80 this afternoon, so about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. We warm into the mid to upper 80s on Tuesday, falling into the low 80s by Wednesday thanks to a cold front that will drop temperatures into the mid-70s to close out the week. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mashuli.
Yeah, that old roller coaster continues. 88 today, 73 by Thursday. And right now with clear skies, it's 55 degrees.
So it's been sort of a rocky rollout for the new AI feature on Google.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
One of the questions they asked it, here was the answer. Add glue to tomato sauce to help cheese stick to pizza.
Well, sounds like it might actually work. Might not be good for you. Wouldn't taste very good.
We'll get Mike Dubusky to explain coming up in a moment on KSL.
Stay with us, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
Memorial Day deals are here at Lowe's. Right now, save big on Scott's Naturescapes mulch. Get 5 bags for just $10. And there's more. Get up to 40% off. Plus, save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances. These deals are selling fast, so start shopping now. Lowe's knows summer savings. Valid through 5/29. Mulch excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Appliance savings vary based on purchase. See Lowe's.com for details. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
Hey, my name is Chris Stewart. The question I have is, who can best represent us in Congress? And the answer to me is clearly Celeste. So in my life, I've been around some of the strongest leaders in the world. What is it that makes a good leader? Humility. The humility to listen, to actually consider what it is that they want, to try to help people. That's Celeste to her core. Celeste has shown up for me. She'll show up for you. She shows up for Utah.
Paid for by Celeste for Congress.
Hey everybody, it's Casey Scott, and I have a podcast called Project Recovery. I talk about my own journey from addiction to a lifelong one in recovery. I'm joined by my good friend and a clinical psychologist, Dr. Matt Woolley.
You know, it's your story, Casey, but we also hear inspiring stories of others who join the show from rock bottom to living a life of recovery.
That's Project Recovery, a show about addiction, but more importantly, it's about recovery. Follow us for free on KSLPodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
KSL News Time, 5:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah Senator Mike Lee was met with boos at the Libertarian National Convention this weekend. I'm KSL News Radio's Michael Commit.
Second, westbound I-80 was closed for several hours over the holiday after a wrong-way crash where the driver hit a pickup truck pulling a horse trailer.
Third, let's check the drive with traffic and weather together.
Looking at maybe a single vehicle crash on the 106 South on-ramp to South 15 in Sandy. Yet to see delay from it, but the car is facing the wrong way. That's not a good thing. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be the warmest day of the year, 88 for a high. Right now it's 57 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Closing arguments in Donald Trump's trial in New York to get underway in just a couple of hours.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The jury in former President Donald Trump's hush money trial is set to hear closing arguments today. ABC's Lindsay Tuckman is outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan.
Arguments are expected to last the entire day, with the goal for them to be finished today so that the jury can begin deliberations tomorrow. They will be handed a very weighty task, whether or not to convict a former president.
At least 22 people were killed in severe weather over the Memorial Day weekend. Texas, Arkansas, Kansas, Kentucky especially hard hit. At least 50 Palestinians killed in an Israeli missile strike.
The deadly strike targeted a location only 650 feet from a designated humanitarian area. More than 1 million Palestinians have fled to Rafah during the war to seek refuge.
ABC's Perry Russum. Israel says the bombing was a tragic mistake, but also says 2 Hamas leaders were killed in the attack. Authorities in Papua New Guinea fear a second landslide following the first last week that may have left more than 2,000 people buried. This is ABC News.
Users say they're underwhelmed by what they're seeing so far from Google's new artificial intelligence search feature.
Not only is it wrong, sometimes it's giving downright silly advice. We're joined now live by ABC News tech reporter Mike Dubusky. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
What's going on with this? It's called Gemini, right?
So Gemini is their large language model. That is the AI technology that underpins a lot of Google artificial intelligence products. And we got to look at kind of exactly how Google sees this Gemini model showing up in our everyday lives. A few weeks ago at Google I/O, that was their developer conference, they showed off a whole bunch of new technology. In that is this AI overviews feature that Google has started integrating into Google Search, their core product. And the idea here is that Google is going to trawl through a bunch of different web pages using generative AI, and when you go to search for something, instead of being presented with a page of blue links, right, websites that could answer your question, Google is going to use all the information from those websites and give you an artificially generated answer, which they hope is the answer to your question. But the problem is, in the past few weeks, since this feature has been rolling out, people have found that many of the answers that this AI overviews feature gives them are weird or wrong, or in some cases dangerous. The big one that got a lot of attention online is that it suggested a user add glue to their pizza sauce in an effort to get the cheese to stick to that pizza. Feels like we shouldn't have to say this. Don't eat glue. Google did specify that it had to be non-toxic glue, but even still, don't eat glue. Google has also made some changes to this system so that it's very hard to replicate that. So they are sort of fixing this as it goes along. But the glue question was far from the only weird response that AI overviews has given people. In one case, it told them to eat small rocks, which, again, don't do that. Small inaccuracies about U.S. presidents and the value of the U.S. dollar, the release date of certain movies, all wrong in some cases. So it just goes to underscore, guys, every time that you are presented with an AI-generated answer, best practice, just go double-check it.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. It's not the race to be right, it's the race to be first with this AI stuff. Can we opt out of that, or is that just force-fed to us when we go and use Google?
So as it stands right now, it is on by default. So if you go to Google something and you have the latest version and Google has shipped this to your particular Google Chrome or Google search account, it will appear sort of above traditional search results. So you'll have like this little box that says AI overviews, and you can kind of see the system writing out an answer for you. And there is a disclaimer at the end that, you know, this is an experimental feature and it is not always accurate. Best to double check. And then if you scroll down, you will see traditional links. So they're still there. They're not gone. But that has created this real panic within the digital publishing industry about, you know, whether people will continue to click out to their websites if you are now prioritizing this feature over their links. And that's a real existential concern for that group of people. You can turn AI overviews off as well. There is a feature, you know, in the settings of Google Search where you can go and just kind of toggle it off. But as of right now, it's kind of on by default.
What chance do other AI companies have if Google, since we're all used to Googling,
right?
Won't we just keep using their AI? Won't that be our transition?
Again, just hugely valuable real estate, right? Like everybody is familiar with Google Search. It's been around for 25 years at this point, and that first couple of inches right below the search bar is hugely valuable to people on the internet, not just because it is, you know, the first couple easy answers to your question to click out, but it's also, you know, very valuable for those publishers because when you click on those websites, and many do if they appear at the top of Google search results, well, then you look at ads and you make money. That's how the sort of digital publishing industry works. If you are now supplanting that real estate with an AI-generated answer, well, then what happens to those digital publishers, those news organizations, blogs, you know, recipe makers, that type of thing? Again, it's a real big question. And Google does have the power because they exist in such a dominant place in the search industry to really, you know, make people kind of quake in their boots when we talk about things.
Yeah, like we don't have time to go into it, but I noticed that Elon Musk did get a leg up, a $6 billion leg up on his AI moves. So there's other competition out there.
It certainly, both from, you know, Elon Musk's X.AI company, which, as you said, just raised $6 billion, but also, you know, ChatGPT is owned by OpenAI. So, you know, there's many out there sort of, you know, fulminating and competing in this AI space.
We appreciate you keeping us up to date, Mike. That's ABC News tech reporter Mike Dubusky on the In-Depth at 15:45.
All right, got some flashing lights out there already on one of the UDOT cameras, so let's check traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate this weekend, coming up on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy?
Well, there's a crash on the 106 South on-ramp to southbound 15 in Sandy. It's got the right lane of the on-ramp blocked, so they're going to force you into the left lane. At least there's two lanes to get on the freeway. If it causes a delay, it'll be more for people on 106th getting ready to turn onto the freeway because the main flow is just fine in both directions between Draper and downtown Salt Lake City. Heather?
Starting to see a little bit of crowding in Clearfield. A lot of this is on SR 193 coming through the industrial park area, heading over to I-15, but you're also going to see some delays getting into the south gate of Hill Air Force Base in Layton from SR 193 as well. Southbound I-15 still moving at speed, but traffic starting to fill in and get a bit crowded as you head into Salt Lake. Eric?
No big problems if you're out in Tooele County on SR 36 northbound up to Lake Point, then heading into the valley on I-80 or the 201 highway, at least at this point. No delays there. I-15 Utah County northbound from Provo to Point of the Mountain. That's a 20-minute drive. For a limited time, new America First Credit Union members get $100 when opening a checking account or $50 when opening a youth checking account. Head to americafirst.com and join today. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at that 7-day forecast. Today is the warmest day of the 7, 88 for a high today. Then we drop back into the 70s Wednesday and Thursday, back into the 80s on Friday, and for the weekend it gets hot again. Right now, let's see where we are, 57 degrees, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
KSL News Time, 5:52.
Tonight on NBC, summer's #1 show is back. America's Got Talent.
Are you ready?
With all the drama.
$1 million on the line.
All the emotion.
It would have been easier for me to give up, but I just can't do it.
And even more life-changing golden buzzers.
You know what's going to happen right now? This.
Join Terry, Simon, Howie, Heidi, and Sofia Vergara. The new season of America's Got Talent premieres tonight on NBC.
Tonight on KSL, you know what these street signs mean. Others not always obvious.
I don't know which one applies to where.
Confusing signs leading to unrighteous towing on Utah streets.
Go outside, my car's gone.
Who's responsible?
I didn't know where else to go, and I just wanted to contact you to see what you could do.
KSL's Matt Gephardt uncovers ways you can fight back when your car is hooked.
The signs have to be clear, and they have to be consistent.
Get Gephardt to know before you're towed. Tonight at 10.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. AnyHourServices.com.
Family Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data, and you get to choose who joins your family plan starting as low as $25 a line. Does it have to be family? It can be family or people you like.
Get more lines and more savings. Switch to Straight Talk for family plan starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Scott Hammond. If you've applied for a job using one of the many computer-based systems, artificial intelligence is likely being used to screen your application. In the UK, after being furloughed for COVID, some employees were asked to reapply for jobs that they'd already successfully done. One woman was rejected because, according to the computer, she had poor body language during the interview. The algorithms used in some artificial intelligence systems attempt to objectify what is inherently subjective. For the sake of efficiency, they make decisions that impact a company and the lives of applicants. But we don't yet know the cost. We know that a biased hiring manager can do damage, but so can a computer algorithm. Learn more about ethical hiring practices in an MBA from Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. More Americans are going without homeowners insurance, in part because so many companies are dropping coverage for disaster-prone areas. Those homeowners say a new policy with a different company is just too pricey. Yahoo Finance reports 12% of homeowners went without insurance last year, more than double the number from before the pandemic.
Wow. Let's get a look at your money at this moment. The Dow futures are down 53. That's 0.1%. S&P futures up 5. That's 0.1. The Nasdaq futures up 36. That's 0.2.
Got a crash now that's causing a little bit of trouble southbound I-15 in Sandy at 106 South. It's at the end of the entrance ramp there. We'll check it coming up in a minute.
Are you dealing with pain and discomfort from bulky, ill-fitting dentures? Do you find yourself hiding away during meals with your family and friends? Don't let dentures hold you back any longer. Utah's Best of State winner, Stubbs Dental Implant Center, is here to set you free. Say goodbye to dentures and say hello to the All-On X dental implant procedure, the permanent, life-changing solution that allows you to eat, smile, and laugh confidently once again. Thanks to the newest cutting-edge technology, you can have a brand new, permanent smile in as little as 24 hours. Yeah, you heard it right. Fast forward to finals and let your smile be the one to light up the room. And here's the best part. Your consultation is absolutely free. At Stubbs Dental Implant Center, Utah's #1 dental implant center, they've helped thousands of patients love their smiles again. You could be next. It only takes 60 seconds to start your journey to a happier, healthier smile at StubbsDental.com. That's StubbsDental.com.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, you can win a gas card courtesy of Sinclair. Celebrate Dino Day on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Or win tickets to an upcoming Real Salt Lake and Utah Royals home match. Plus, win a pair of tickets to Lagoon. Lagoon, it's what fun is. Enter now. Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
5:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy?
And right now, if you're traveling through the valley, you've got no problems on the northbound side of I-15 or on Bangerter yet. But we do have a crash on South 15's 106 South on-ramp in Sandy. One of the two on-ramp lanes is blocked, the right lane, and so far it hasn't backed anybody up on the main flow. A little bit maybe right before you turn onto the freeway. Heather?
We're starting to get a bit of congestion trying to get into Hill Air Force Base, both at the West Gate in Clearfield and the South Gate in Layton. But it's the South Gate that has most of the delays right now, both on Hillfield Road and SR 193. Otherwise, the freeways are looking really good through Weber and Davis counties, whether you're heading north, south, east, or west. Eric?
And northbound, southbound I-15 looks good in Utah County, too. No crashes so far. Experience For You banking today at your local Zions Bank branch, or visit zionsbank.com/foryou to learn more. A division of Zions Bank Corporation, N.A., member FDIC. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
88 degrees for a high today. Believe it or not, a 20% chance of showers, too.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning, KSL News Time. It's 6 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
Today could be the last day of testimony at the trial of Chad Daybell in Boise.
That means the jury could be deliberating by the weekend. KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce has more live. Becky?
Amanda, the defense wrapped up late last week, but starting on Friday, the prosecution started calling rebuttal witnesses, and that is expected to continue today, but isn't likely to stretch on much longer. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas tells me that means we could be looking at closing arguments anytime this week, probably sooner than later, with jury deliberations beginning by the weekend. Daybell's accused of murder and conspiracy in the deaths of J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, along with his late first wife, Tammy Daybell. If he's convicted, he could face the death penalty. Live, Becky Bruce, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is in Boise for the trial. We'll hear the latest from him later this morning. For now, you can find more information on our website at kslnewsradio.com.
A man is in police custody after being accused of targeting an officer with his truck. It comes less than a month after a man allegedly killed Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hoosier with a semi-truck. Here is KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston live with more information. Peter?
Amanda, there's some alarming similarities here. In both cases, a driver the police were trying to engage turned their car toward an officer and hit the gas pedal. An arresting document says officers in this case were trying to arrest parolee Tyson Yellowbear on Friday. They saw him get in a truck as they approached his parking lot, and when one officer allegedly threw out a spike strip to stop the suspect, police say that suspect turned toward the officer and accelerated. The officer hit the ground hard enough after going over the hood to cut his radio. KSL News Radio has reached out to Unified Police Department about the status of that officer and another who was injured after ramming Young Bear. Unified Police say both officers were released from the hospital that night. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Police in Sandy still searching for suspected robbers after a wild car chase this weekend. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with that story. Michael?
Tim, this all happened yesterday afternoon when police responded to the scene near State and 106 South. They learned the victims began pursuing the robbers in a sports car, and at one point, a robber pulled a gun and began shooting back at their pursuers. Police say somewhere during this chase, the victims crashed and slid across a sidewalk near Jordan High School. Now, nobody was injured, and police are still searching for the suspects. Additionally, they're reminding everyone to never take things into your own hands if you're robbed. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories now. Closing arguments are set for today in former President Trump's hush money trial. The defense is expected to attack the credibility of his former lawyer, Michael Cohen. Adam Schlehet is director of the Brendan Moore Trial Advocacy Center at the Fordham University School of Law.
They don't need to prove the underlying crime. They just need to prove that when they were falsifying the business records, they were doing that in order to, with the intent to cover up that other crime.
Prosecutors will look to recap corroborating evidence showing Trump falsified business records to cover up the payments in the run-up to the 2016 election.
An American man detained in the Caribbean for months because of ammunition in his luggage is back home and speaking exclusively to ABC's Good Morning America. Brian Hagerich says having the ammo in his bag was an accident.
He was in Turks and Caicos for more than 3 months while awaiting sentencing. He and his wife walked into court Friday to learn his fate.
Everything was about to start. To give Ashley what could have potentially been the last hug and last kiss that we get to share together for a very long time. It hurt so bad, so bad.
But a judge granted Brian a suspended sentence, essentially saying a 12-year punishment did not fit his crime.
ABC's Rhiannon Alley reporting Hagerich arrived home in Pennsylvania late Friday night after paying a $6,700 fine.
First look traffic now takes us back to you, Andy.
Amanda, crash on 106 South on-ramp. South 15 has the right lane blocked on the on-ramp, but looks like people are merging onto the main flow without any extra delay. It's been pretty quiet everywhere else. I don't see any slowdowns yet on Mountain View, Bangerter, on Highway 89 up in Davis County, or Redwood Road down in Lehigh yet. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A little boy from Beaver is receiving worldwide support after nearly drowning last Tuesday. KSL TV's Brittany Tate met with family spokeswoman Minnie Clark and has more.
The world knows about him.
Something family says
he's brought community together. He's made non-believers believers just in these little blips of hope.
Is nothing short of a miracle.
Regardless of the outcome, and we know what we're facing, he's special. He's such a special spirit, and we are so blessed to know him.
Levi, by the way, recovering on a ventilator. He was sedated for safety reasons after waking up a few nights ago.
10% of parents in Utah report their child having ADHD. With the increasing diagnosis, it's been harder to find medication to treat it. Pharmacy director for the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, Anthony May, says the shortage may be a combination of a few things.
So there's a lot of suspicion that, those increased telehealth visits and more flexible prescribing patterns led to a lot more demand for these stimulant medications.
May says even if the shortage is easing up, it's important to communicate with your doctor for alternative medications before you run out.
Summertime often means increased food insecurity. KSL News Radio's Brett Johnson tells us why.
Summertime is sometimes known as the hungriest season because kids no longer have school breakfast or lunch to rely on. President and CEO of the Utah Food Bank, Jeanette Bott, says this season there will be even more food insecurity because of our current economy.
Numbers, I think, are coming up because of challenges that we're all seeing with affordable housing or affordable daycare.
Bott says any kind of donation, be it time, money, or food, is helpful during this time of increased need. She also encourages families to be proactive in finding local food pantries and schools that are offering summer feeding programs. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Skyline High School in Salt Lake City is the state's top-ranked traditional high school. U.S. News and World Report ranked Skyline 97.1 out of 100. The ranking system looked at graduation rates, the AP exams offered, and the number of students who passed those exams.
Good for them. Normal drive times throughout the Wasatch Front this morning, a little bit lighter, actually, volume than normal. We'll check traffic and weather together in 2 minutes.
Join your friends who rely on KSL each morning for the fastest routes to work and school.
I am listening for the traffic. I'll always know if somebody's going to be late to work. That's often what's on when I'm driving.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s.
On KSL News Radio.
Can I tell you the one question I have never been asked on my SOTA weight loss journey? No one has ever asked me if SOTA weight loss works. Why? Because the results don't lie. I let go of 37 pounds in 90 days. Real results. And now I'm 2.5 years into my journey, still 37 pounds down, and have never felt better. Real results. The question I do get asked is, how does SOTA weight loss work? It's in the name. SOTA stands for state-of-the-art weight loss because it is state-of-the-art. Based on science, SOTA only employs nutritionists and dietitians who love helping people reach their goals and keeping those healthy results for the rest of their life. No fads, no pills, no potions, just science, nutrition, and someone who will guide you every step of the way to a better you. When it comes to your SOTA weight loss journey, there's no time to lose, only time to win, so start winning today. Your healthy tomorrow begins today. Make the decision that will change every day for the rest of your life. State-of-the-art weight loss, SOTAweightloss.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-43-BIBLE. That's 844-43-BIBLE. 844-43-BIBLE.
Just a reminder again, as we wind down the Chad Daybell trial in Boise, our Adam Small is there this morning. He'll be checking in with us coming up in the hours ahead, so make sure you stay with us. 6:09 means traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy, that car is facing the wrong direction on the on-ramp there.
Yep, it's the 106 South on-ramp to southbound 15. The right lane of the two on-ramp lanes is blocked, but people are merging on with little extra problem so far. Northbound's been fine. Only a 20-minute drive between Draper and downtown this morning. SR 201, just a little bit of waiting time appearing around 7200 West now. Heather?
We do have increased volume of traffic southbound I-15 moving through Weber and Davis counties. Not enough traffic yet to cause any type of delay or brake light showing up, but we do have congestion trying to get into Hill Air Force Base. The worst is the South Gate in Layton right now. Both Hillfield Road and SR 193 showing a block or so of delay trying to get in. Eric?
Down Utah County, no problems from Provo to Lehigh on the freeway. And if you're heading out through Spanish Fork Canyon on Highway 6, we don't have any issues as far as delays going out towards Price. And 189 through Provo Canyon looks good going to the Wasatch Back. Need a perfect event venue? There's a place. This is the place. Heritage Park, ideal for weddings, events, featuring 11 venues, beautiful grounds, affordability for any celebration. Call or visit thisistheplace.org. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at that weather forecast. It's going to be hot today. 88, that's our hottest day of the year. Mostly sunny. Tomorrow, 79, 73 on Thursday before we get back up into the 80s. And right now downtown, it's 57 degrees.
Closing arguments in Donald Trump's trial in New York happening today, and all cameras, of course, in New York City are going to be on him leaving Trump Tower and heading that direction. ABC's Aaron Katersky is outside the courthouse, so we're going to check in with him coming up in just a minute. Make sure you stay with us here at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. Want to save some money today and every day? Then you need to come see our friends at NPS. They've got 4 locations in Layton and Orem and 2 stores in Salt Lake City.
So I was grocery shopping on Friday, and I look over and think, what's Andy Farnsworth doing? Oh, that's right. It's the movie show, live from NPS. I was just there saving money like I do every time every week for groceries. And then if I think I need something else, if I need, some makeup, or if, the kids need shoes or something, then I wander into the rest of the store, and I always find great deals on everything.
You've heard us talk about NPS before, the fact that their base business model is to save you 30 to 70% off name brand, brand new items. But then they need the shelf space because they've got another shipment of something. And the fun part for them is they don't know what that something is the next day. And they're going to mark it down even further to make sure that they have room to move that inventory in. 50% off clothing and clothing accessories, in addition to the 30 to 70% off. 30% off shoes, and in the industrial store, 50% off mattresses, punching bags of all things, and flotation ring pet life vest, just in case you want to take your pooch swimming.
Plus, at the Salt Lake store only, they have a garden center. So I saw people when I was there Friday saving money on all kinds of flowers. They had trees and everything. You should check that before you go anywhere else.
Yeah, beautiful plants, too. So again, you'll find them in Layton, in Orem, and 2 stores in Salt Lake City.
I'm Jason Walton, the only Republican political outsider running for the United States Senate. Are you tired of paying more but getting less? Food, gas, interest rates, they've all gone up. Sending more career politicians to Washington is not the solution. They're the problem. They're addicted to spending money we don't have on things we don't need. They're causing inflation as the federal debt goes up and the value of our money goes down. My opponents are big spending career politicians. Trent Staggs, 11 years politicking. Brad Wilson, 14 years. And John Curtis, as a Democrat, began 24 years ago. I'll stop runaway inflation by forcing politicians to spend only what we give them by passing a balanced budget amendment within 2 terms, or I won't run for re-election. If the other candidates won't make you that promise, then they care more about their careers than about our country. I'm Jason Walton, a candidate for the United States Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Friends of Jason Walton for Senate.
You know, Deb, you and I have had this conversation so many times. We think, oh, I wish I had a little more light here or maybe a ceiling fan there.
That's why we love Master Electrical. So anytime we have an electrical problem, we know we can call them and they will give us their upfront pricing guarantee.
Because we're not going to do it yourself. We're going to leave it to the professionals. And this upfront pricing guarantee is fantastic. I'm sure you've been bitten by bids in the past where they say, oh, that's going to take half a day. And then 2 weeks later, the bid and the invoice have nothing to do with each other.
Not only will you get their upfront pricing guarantee, but you will never see an upcharge. Their pricing system simply won't allow it.
Master Electrical proudly serves from Logan to Santaquin.
They do everything that has to do with electrical, and they're always open, including for emergency services. The phone number to call is 801-543-2222.
801-543-2222, or check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
KSL News Time, 6:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
police in Sandy are still searching for the suspects of an attempted robbery over the weekend. I'm KSL News Radio's Michael Commit.
Second, police say a 50-year-old man led them on a chase through Silver Creek. The man was allegedly swerving in and out of oncoming traffic, believed to be heavily intoxicated.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
Still a crash being cleaned up on the ramp from South 15, 106 South to South 15. The right lane is blocked. But there hasn't been any backup from it, thankfully. That's the only crash so far this morning affecting anybody. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
And the weather forecast, hot today, a high of 88 degrees, right now 57 at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And time for a look at our top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Closing arguments begin this morning in the criminal trial of former President Donald Trump. He's accused of falsifying business records to hide hush money payments made to an adult film star. ABC's Aaron Katursky is at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan.
Closing arguments in this historic trial follow a week's hiatus. Jurors spent 5 weeks hearing testimony from 22 different witnesses. They spoke about sex and money, but really what the jury will decide is whether former President Trump committed an accounting crime to keep a lewd story from his past from hurting his chances in the 2016 election.
Arguments are expected to last the entire day, with the goal of beginning deliberations tomorrow. More severe weather over the Memorial Day weekend. There were deaths in Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Texas. That's where we find ABC's Jim Ryan.
Near the tornado-ravaged town of Valley View, Texas, dozens of motorists pulled off of Interstate 35 and ran into a gas station for cover. Ricky Heron was among them.
It got so intense that I could feel every particle of dirt, sand, fiberglass, glass hitting my face.
Heron threw his body onto his wife to protect her from the debris. Everyone in the gas station survived, although some were injured. Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
At least 50 people were killed in an overnight airstrike in Rafah in southern Gaza. Israel says it took out 2 Hamas leaders, but at least 50 civilians were also killed in a refugee camp. Many more burned. ABC's Britt Clennett is at the foreign desk.
The strike, it's adding to Israel's growing isolation on the world stage. It came just 2 days after a UN top court ruled against its offensive in Rafah, and a National Security Council spokesperson calling the images out of Rafah devastating, heartbreaking, saying that Israel must protect civilians.
T-Mobile set to add about 4 million new subscribers. The wireless carrier announcing it's got a deal to buy U.S. Cellular for about $4.5 billion pending regulator approval. This is ABC News.
As we heard just a moment ago, the jury in the hush money trial for former President Donald Trump could begin deliberations as soon as tomorrow.
ABC's Aaron Katersky is outside the courthouse where closing arguments will get underway soon.
The closing arguments in this historic first criminal trial of a former American president follow a week's hiatus. The jury spent 5 weeks hearing testimony from 22 witnesses who spoke a lot about sex and money. But really what the jury will decide is whether former President Trump committed an accounting crime to keep a lewd story from his past from hurting his chances in the 2016 election. From David Pecker, the jury heard about a tabloid's tactics for burying damaging stories about Trump. Stormy Daniels described intimate details of a sexual encounter with Trump that he denied occurred. And Michael Cohen said he paid Daniels hush money that Trump reimbursed in monthly payments disguised as legal expenses. Cohen said he spoke to Trump some 20 times about the hush payment, so he's expected to be a focus of the defense, which will call him a liar whose testimony cannot be trusted. The closing arguments, starting with the defense, are expected to take all day. The jury is not expected to begin deliberating the 34 felony counts of falsifying business records until first thing tomorrow.
The former president shared a number of messages on social media yesterday ahead of the closing arguments, mostly calling the case election interference. And, of course, we'll be following it closely with the help of ABC News throughout the rest of the week.
6:19 now. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. And back to you, Andy.
Amanda, traveled on the freeway, I-15, still clear going north from Draper to downtown. We do have a crash on the southbound 15 on-ramp at 106 South to go to South 15. Been pretty nice so far this morning on Bangor, although it's a little slow in the construction on 47th South between 40th West and Bangor Highway in Taylorsville. And SR 201 just a little bit heavy, 7200 West. Heather?
The congestion we had trying to get into the south gate of Hill Air Force Base seems to have eased up for the moment, but it's getting worse at the west gate in Clearfield. So now we're seeing the backups both on Main Street and 650 North heading east into the gate. Otherwise, you still have a good drive on I-15 southbound between Ogden and Salt Lake City, and traffic is at speed. Eric?
Going along the 215 East Belt northbound from Cottonwood Heights up past Mount Olympus. That looks good alongside the mountains to the mouth of Parley's Canyon. I-80 out to Park City, no trouble there. Down Utah County, you're at a normal pace too on I-15, 24 minutes northbound from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain. Hogle Zoo has so much to explore, and now there's even more to love. The all-new Aleen West Skaggs Wild Utah exhibit and the Eccles Express train are now open at Hogle Zoo. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
The 7-day forecast features a lot of dry time, but we do have a few rain chances to mention. This Tuesday afternoon, an isolated shower and storm in the higher terrain in northern Utah will be possible. Then on Wednesday, when a cold front moves through, we have a few shower chances in northern Utah with an isolated thunderstorm possible. Then we dry out for the remainder of the work week. Temperatures today, warmest of the year in the upper 80s. We fall into the upper 70s on Wednesday, low 70s Thursday. Then we're back into the 80s as we close out the work week and start the month of June. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mishuli.
It's actually warmed up out there, 57 degrees, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
I always love to come in on well, it's not Monday, it's Tuesday, to come in after a weekend and read the texts. So here's one we got, I don't know what day this was. Looks like last night. The text just says, I'm 73. Good for you.
Happy birthday.
That's all it says.
Happy birthday.
I'm 73. Happy birthday. We get some funny texts here. We always appreciate your texts.
Yeah.
You can send us a text anytime and just say good morning or let us know if you see something, whatever you like. The text line here at KSL is 57500.
The ones I most appreciate are the ones that were never meant to come to us at all.
I saw one of those.
They're trying to alert somebody that they left the keys or they left the dog somewhere.
Oh, there's a good one.
We'd love to help, but I don't think it was meant for us.
Here's one. I'm going into Walmart. I'd like to pick you up on my way home.
Okay. We'll be here just waiting for the ride.
Exactly.
Coming up in a minute, we'll see what's happening with money news this morning. Looks mixed so far. Opening bell a little more than an hour away, and our KSL news time is 6:22.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At slcfatloss.com, we know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no surgery, and no injections with the risk of serious side effects, go to slcfatloss.com now to schedule your free consultation in person or virtually.
One thing I learned about myself when I lost 57 pounds in 60 days with Salt Lake City Fat Loss: when you pay for a program, you don't cheat. If you use my name, Dave, you get an extra $200 off. Check out slcfatloss.com.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 801-450-1882 or go to slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com. Results may vary.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
Check out AMCO's multiple financing options, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow.
AA MCO.
Achieving the extraordinary. Getting things done. That's the Utah way. And that's Brad Wilson. He delivered the biggest tax cut Utah's ever seen, keeping more money in your pocket. And on the Second Amendment, when others caved, Brad Wilson stood tall, enacted constitutional carry. Wilson stood up to the EPA, sued Joe Biden to protect Utah's energy industry, and won. And when others backed down on illegal immigration, Wilson didn't buckle. He banned sanctuary cities. In the U.S. Senate, he'd bring the Utah way to Washington, taking Joe Biden's agenda head on. That's why over 60 mayors, 22 sheriffs, and leading conservatives across Utah are supporting Brad Wilson for U.S. Senate, because Brad Wilson's the tested, trusted Utah conservative for U.S. Senate. Join them and thousands more supporting Brad Wilson at electbradwilson.com.
I'm Brad Wilson, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Wilson for Senate.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. T-Mobile is picking up over 4 million new customers as part of a deal to buy out U.S. Cellular. The $4.4 billion deal includes a chunk of U.S. Cellular's debt. The Wall Street Journal reports that deal will close next year.
Crazy how easy numbers like that just roll off our tongue. $4.4 billion. Yeah. Nearly 80,000 Volkswagen EVs are being recalled because of a computer glitch. VW says there's a software issue with the last few years of ID4s that could keep the instrument panel displaying from rebooting, keeping drivers from seeing their speed or the image from a backup camera.
If you've ever dreamed of wreaking havoc on burglars while eating junk and watching rubbish, here's your chance. You just need $5.25 million.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
The Home Alone house in Winnetka, Illinois is on the market. It's been renovated since Kevin McAllister woke up alone in 1990. The basement boasts a basketball court.
All right, markets mixed about an hour ahead of the bell this morning. The Dow is down 29. The S&P is up 8.25. And let's see, the NASDAQ up almost 50 points this hour.
We'd like to talk to you for a minute about one of our favorite places to go, which is Hale Center Theater. And I just want to direct everybody to May We All before it closes. I just looked it up. It closes on June 5th.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're running out of time.
There isn't a lot of time left. And oh, my gosh, this musical. Well, first of all, I remember so much of this music from growing up and even recently. This is music that you know and you love. But the story of how this little town in Tennessee, Harmony, Tennessee, how this little town is struggling, but they find their way back through music. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and speaks to what small towns everywhere are going through,
Yeah.
first of all, and also speaks to the dreams of many that want to go to Nashville and make it big on the stage, and the struggle that comes along with that. May We All is, of course, a song from Florida Georgia Line. So if you're a country music fan, you're going to recognize, just like you did, the music all the way through here. While you're at it, though, at hct.org, make sure you also check out information on Time Machine. It's showing right now on the Jewel Box stage. And it's fun to take you not just places, but through time.
Through time. And I mean, there are twists and turns in this story. And what they do with the set is so extraordinary. I found myself thinking, nowhere else on earth could I see a show like this, but here with their creativity.
And there's visual effects that I haven't seen on the Jewel Box
Me
stage
neither.
before. So some surprises there, even for those of you that love to go and have been many times in the past. It's a world premiere, by the way. Call 801-984-9000 to get your tickets, or again, go to hct.org.
Dear class of 2024, you're donning caps and gowns just as things reach a tipping point. War overseas, protests, artificial intelligence. It seems like a lot, but you're just the kind of people to build a new sense of hope. Congratulations, graduates. Make the world proud. And better. A message of hope for the future from your friends at KSL News Radio.
Join KSL Saturday, June 1st for Dino Day at all Sinclair locations. Fuel up and save up to 30 cents per gallon on top-tier premium fuel with Dino Pay plus free Dino swag. That's June 1st.
6:29 means traffic and weather together here. Brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate this Saturday, June 1st at all Sinclair locations. All right, Andy, give us the latest.
Well, if you're on I-15, you got the full speed limit between Draper and downtown. There's still the right lane blocked on the 106 South on-ramp to South 15 in Sandy. And traffic on the 201 freeway was slow earlier in Magna at 7200 West, but right now it's cleared out. Heather?
Also looking pretty good in Weber and Davis County. No delays yet. Southbound I-15 from Ogden to Salt Lake, but traffic is definitely filling in. You might see some heavier pockets of traffic between Clearfield and Farmington. And we have just a little bit of congestion trying to get into the west gate of Hill Air Force Base in Clearfield, but everybody else looks good on the city streets. Eric?
We might have a crash southbound I-15 in Utah County because we do have some slowdowns going between Center Street and University Avenue in Provo, and you do have some backups heading out towards the S-curves. We'll see if that is sustained. Maybe it'll go quickly away. Right now on the northbound side, no problems as you head from Provo to Point of the Mountain. That's a 20-minute drive. Revere Health encourages you to schedule your preventative care and annual checkups to help increase the potential to live your most healthy and active life. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner in life. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's going to be a hot one today. A high of 88 degrees here in Salt Lake. We'll drop into the 70s Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's 57 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio.
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 6:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
A BYU alum running for Senate in Missouri has recruited the man behind Evan McMullen's 2016 presidential campaign.
He is running as a candidate for the political party he helped start this month. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with a story. Peter?
Amanda, Jared Young says he's running as a member of the Better Party.
These politicians aren't necessarily bad people. They're just caught in a system where the incentives are all wrong. If we want things to change, we need people representing us who are not required to play the game.
That sentiment lines up with what independent presidential candidate Evan McMullen said while running for president in 2016. Now, McMullen campaign manager Joel Searby says he's helping Young because he has, quote, strong character plus skin in the game. Young has loaned the campaign almost $250,000, according to KSL.com. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Utah Senator Mike Lee was heckled and met with boos at the National Libertarian Convention. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with that story. Michael?
Tim, both Senator Lee and former President Donald Trump spoke at this convention, and Senator Lee made a pitch for the former president at the close of his speech.
Donald Trump may not agree with you on everything, but I can tell you he will agree with you a whole hell of a lot more than that nutball in the White House or anybody else on the ticket.
Senator Lee was booed when he asked the audience to support Donald Trump and, quote, restore the Constitution. On X, he says the hecklers were paid agitators, and the majority of libertarians were supportive of Trump. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Police are searching for possible arsonists after a 100-year-old church burned down this weekend. It used to serve as a meeting house for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Local resident Amy Luter says there have been issues there before when looters tried to break into the church.
Police have had to take out big groups of people with all their stuff several times.
2 people were inside the building when the fire first broke out. They were treated for minor smoke inhalation.
Police say a resident of a Sandy homeless shelter is under arrest on suspicion of murder.
Sandy police, according to a probable cause statement, gathered enough evidence, including timeline video surveillance and a fanny pack-style bag covered with blood, to arrest that suspect, 60-year-old Laura Northrup. She faces charges of suspicion of murder and the death of a roommate, Stephanie Lynn Hackett Carrasco, whose body was discovered by a third roommate early on Sunday. The 3 women were living at the Medically Vulnerable People Program facility at 8955 South, 255 West in Sandy, formerly an Econo Lodge. It provides housing and medical care to seniors, veterans, and the medically frail who are experiencing homelessness. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories now. The holiday weekend was bombarded by violent weather that has claimed nearly 24 lives. Between Friday and Monday, more than 1,300 severe weather alerts were issued between Texas and New York.
We're in it. Some of the most remarkable and terrifying audio to come out of the weekend storms was captured inside a Cadillac SUV.
I thought we were coming off the ground.
Valina Gill and her friend came face to face with a tornado in Cook County, Texas.
That's when I really freaked.
The SUV held the road and now is sandblasted on one side.
Windows cracked from the debris.
After the wind died, Valina Gill and Brenda Proctor Dance realized
We're very lucky to be alive.
Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Todd and Lisa Smith trying to pick up the pieces in Valley View, Texas after a tornado destroyed their home and barns. The Smiths lost a horse and some other animals.
We got each other, and there's families right over there that don't have that.
200 other homes and structures were affected.
First look traffic on this Tuesday morning, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Still have the crash, southbound 15 at the 106 South on-ramp, blocking the right lane. We've got some slowing on I-80 and on SR-36 in Lake Point as you go to merge on to I-80. But I-80 into the canyon towards Park City, just fine. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scientists from the University of Utah have discovered what they call rare earth minerals in eastern Utah coal mines.
There is some real potential here in terms of the resource.
University of Utah Associate Professor Laura Bergenheyer says they have found these minerals above and below coal seams in eastern Utah and western Colorado.
There's been some previous work, especially in the Appalachian region, that shows that those resources are there. But there was really no investigation across Utah and western Colorado. So that's sort of what prompted us to look at active coal mines across Utah and Colorado.
The next phase of study will be to see how much material is available in these mines. Bergenheyer says the cooperation of these active mines was critical in being able to find these minerals. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Real Salt Lake's unbeaten streak continues. The team went 3-3 in a draw this weekend against FC Dallas. They were down 3-0 in the second half when they made a quick comeback. This is the team's 11th straight game without a loss. Holy cow.
Yeah, they are truly on a great roll. NBA greats are remembering basketball legend and champion Bill Walton. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimberg.
Tributes pouring in from across the NBA. Steph Curry saying he always brought the best energy and humanity to every room he walked into. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar saying he wasn't happy unless he did everything he could to make everyone around him happy. Walton died after a long battle with cancer. He was 71.
He is remembered, of course, for not just what he did on the court, but off the court, and it was sort of a love-hate thing with him. Here's a perfect example of stuff that people would just roll their eyes about Bill when he was trying to, his color commentary partner, or his play-by-play partner, is trying to call a game.
Yeah.
And Bill goes into this situation when UConn was taking on San Diego State. His partner, last name Pash, he says, which Pash noted was a 10-point game. To explain some basic astronomical principles, Walton detailed that the Earth's 23.5-degree axial tilt was responsible for the seasons and that the planet rotates around the sun. Pash seemed annoyed that Walton wasn't paying attention to the game while he was using Pash's orange to display the run. What was Walton's response when Pash asked if he could eat that orange? No, that's the sun, Walton said. That gives us our energy and our life. And people at home are going, can we just tell me what's going on the court, please?
I know, but I loved him.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
just loved him.
Gone at 71 years old.
The Paris Summer Olympic Games are just around the corner, and Olympic athletes' mental health is being given a spotlight.
Stress, anxiety, and frustration are common emotions an Olympic athlete may feel leading up to the Games, but something commonly felt after the competition is grief.
A lot of people only assume that you can grieve if there is some sort of death loss, and that is simply not the case. And for an Olympic athlete, the end of the Olympics, there's really only one winner. There's one person that gets that, or one team that gets that top spot.
Sports psychologist Dr. Natasha Trujillo says the best way to handle grief is to be patient and talk through your feelings. Alessandra Gurr, KSL News Radio.
Congestion now, SR 36 northbound out of Tooele County, heading to eastbound I-80 right now. We'll check that spot in the rest of the valley next.
Spend time with KSL News Radio and get a deeper understanding of the world around us.
You've got voices like Boyd Matheson. I enjoy his measured approach to things. A very balanced view.
Inside Sources, weekdays 1 to 3.
On KSL News Radio.
One of the things with running is I want to enjoy the run, but I never made it very far because the arches on my feet just killed me. So when I got to the end of my rope and I said I have to do something to get rid of the pain, and a couple people recommended the Good Feet store to me. I loved how I could go in and get a free personalized arch support fitting. They put that time, that work, that effort into helping you find the right arch supports. And you can walk around this store with these in your shoes and try them out before you purchase them. So after I got my arch supports, the arches on my feet stopped hurting. And the pain instantly, literally instantly went away. So if you have pain, go. Find a Good Feet store and go. There is an answer. Find the simple solution that will get rid of your pain. I'm Rondi, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
I'm John Curtis. As a small businessman, I built gun ranges to help our law enforcement and our military. As mayor of Provo, I took aim at reducing waste, and we balanced our budget. In Congress, I've stood up to Biden and voted repeatedly against his reckless spending.
And when it comes to standing up to D.C. and protecting our land, John Curtis has done that too. He forced the federal government to transfer more land back to Utah than anyone in state history.
I'll never let D.C. bureaucrats or outsiders tell us how to manage our land.
And John Curtis is the only candidate China has threatened to arrest because John stands up to the communist aggression. And Curtis is fighting to secure our border and stop the cartel's deadly flow of drugs in our country.
I will always stand up for America and Utah. That's why I approve this message.
John Curtis, conservative Republican for U.S. Senate.
I'd be honored to have your support.
Paid for by John Curtis for Utah.
Our Mark Jackson is following up on a story over the weekend of a resident at a Sandy homeless shelter who's under suspicion of murder. We'll get the latest on that for you this morning.
6:39, traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy?
Amanda, southbound 15, traffic is still affected getting onto the freeway at 106 South. The right lane's blocked on the on-ramp from a crash. Cars still facing the wrong way, but at least the tow truck's on the scene now. Bangor beginning to slow northbound at about 47 South. Taylorsville, the usual stretch. And Mountain View backing up around 3500 South. Heather?
We're starting to see a little bit of slowing southbound I-15 in Layton. This is near Gentile Street as before you get to the Hillfield Road exit. Otherwise, you've got a good drive between Ogden and Salt Lake with just a little bit more slowing as you approach the I-215 North interchange in North Salt Lake. Legacy Parkway, the West Side Belt, they're at speed if you use those to get to the airport. Eric?
Tooele County traffic slowing up northbound on SR 36 going through Lake Point as it is congested going on to I-80, eastbound I-80, although those slowdowns will dissipate and be gone basically by the time you get to the 201 turnoff. I-15 in Utah County. Northbound looks good. That southbound slowing that we had coming out of the S-curves going into Provo was just a temporary thing, as it turns out. So you've got good movement in Utah County. Advanced Window Products, factory direct affordable windows. Call today. They're on their way. Financing available. Save now, pay later. AdvancedWindows.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll start this Tuesday with temperatures in the mid-50s and mostly sunny skies. We'll see a few clouds develop in the afternoon. One of these clouds could develop an isolated shower. However, that will generally be in the higher terrain. Today's also going to be the warmest day of the year so far, with highs in the upper 80s. But a cold front will move through on Wednesday. That'll bring another isolated rain chance to northern Utah and a cool down. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mishuli.
Goodness, that sun's up already this morning, and it's 57 degrees downtown.
We've been talking about the response to Senator Lee at the Libertarian Convention, but I guess former President Trump was booed, too.
Yeah. Is this common that, like, Republican nominees for the presidency go to the Libertarian Convention?
Maybe Stephen Portnoy knows. We'll ask him in a moment on KSL.
Right now, though, it's time for Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, and it's brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
When you think about how old Joe Biden is, it's hard to imagine his great-great-grandfather. You want to guess what year his papa's pappy was born? Because we learned something very, very interesting about Joe Biden's great-great-grandfather the other day. Moses Robinette was born way back in 1819. When he was in his 40s, he served in the Union Army in the Civil War.
Oh, we'll rally around the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
While Moses Robinette wore the uniform, he did not distinguish himself wearing it. Seems Joe Biden's ancestor got into a brawl, pulled a penknife, and stabbed a fellow Union soldier. We know this because the Washington Post has just unearthed the transcript from his court-martial, at which Robinette was found guilty of attempted murder. But the military judges had mercy. Recognizing that he was brawling with a much bigger man, they sentenced him to 2 years hard labor. But that's not the end of our story, because Moses Robinette's friends petitioned the president for a pardon, and it was granted by Abraham Lincoln. Robinette went free, leaving behind a previously unknown connection, undiscovered for 160 years, between Lincoln and Joseph Robinette Biden, great-great-grandson of a brawler.
Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were.
So, does the fruit fall far from the tree? You decide.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
Brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox. IRS harassing you? The law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, it's never good news. My name is Jim. So I went through a difficult time with a divorce. Then the economy crashed. I was out of work. Combination of the way that my ex-wife was filing the tax returns caused mine to get rejected, and I found myself in a difficult situation that I didn't know how to get out of. Don't face the IRS alone. With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone. I could not believe that it was even possible. I had hoped for something. Never dreamt in my wildest dreams he would get what he got. You need someone to fight for you. We owed $80,300 and something, and I paid $1,000. Visit taxhelput.com and get relief today. Let's solve your tax problems now. Visit taxhelput.com. It was incredible. Do yourself a favor. Call Jordan Wilcox. That's taxhelput.com.
KSL News Time, 6:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the jury in the trial of Chad Daybell could get the case for deliberations as soon as this weekend. I'm KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce.
Second, minerals critical to the manufacture of electronics and transitioning to clean energy sources have been found in eastern Utah.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
I-15 traffic is still delay-free in the Salt Lake Valley. We've got a little bit of slowing now creeping in just before 215 in North Salt Lake, and it's heavy near Lagoon. And we have I-80 slowdowns getting on the freeway from Lake Point and into the Salt Lake Valley. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
After a beautiful Memorial Day, it gets even warmer with highs in the upper 80s. I'm Devin Mishuli.
Right now, 57 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Weather was nice here over the weekend, but not so nice around the central part of the country. Let's check in with ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The most active springtime severe weather in more than a dozen years, refusing to let up. 22 people killed in Oklahoma, Kentucky, Arkansas, and Texas. ABC's Jim Ryan, who's there, says new tornado warnings have been posted this morning.
People here in Dallas-Fort Worth have barely gotten a break in the severe weather. Now storms are moving in from the Texas-Oklahoma border. At DFW Airport, not far from where I am, a 77-mile-per-hour gust was reported this morning.
Closing arguments begin this morning in the criminal hush money trial of Donald Trump. Jurors in New York deciding whether the former president should be convicted of falsifying business records to hide hush money payments made to an adult film star. The Gaza Health Ministry saying that 50 Palestinians were killed in an Israeli airstrike overnight that took out 2 Hamas leaders. The missile hit a refugee camp in the southern city of Rafah, where the U.S. had been warning of protections for civilians. This is ABC News.
A rowdy reception for former President Donald Trump over the weekend at the Libertarian Party convention.
He got a mixed response from attendees, including some boos and even some run-ins with police. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy joins us live. Is that normal for the Republican nominee to be going to a Libertarian convention?
It's not normal, and Amanda, that's why it got headlines. I mean, look, Donald Trump walked into a hostile crowd of libertarians trying to appeal for their support, if not their nomination. He must have had a sense he wasn't going to be the libertarian nominee, but the idea that he might appeal to this crowd, which exists to be in opposition to the standing candidates of the major parties, is interesting. Look, there were some people in the crowd who applauded Trump, but overwhelmingly, you could hear it in the audio, there were boos. And you have to wonder why he decided he was going to do this on Sunday here in Washington, D.C. There were about 900 delegates to the Libertarian Convention, and they decided they would nominate a man named Chase Oliver. You've probably never heard of him unless you are yourself a Libertarian Party activist. But he is a man who ran for the Senate in Georgia some years ago, forced the 2020 runoff in that state by depriving each of the major party candidates the opportunity to get 50% of the vote to win outright. And ultimately, this man, who is a millennial, he's openly gay, pro-transgender rights, and supportive of abortion rights, is going to be the Libertarian nominee. And that is the spirit right now of today's Libertarian Party. Over time, the Libertarian Party has hewed more closely to economic issues, economic liberty, perhaps pro-business. In today's political climate, the Libertarian Party is much more in favor of individual personal freedoms, including reproductive rights. And so the man who proudly says that he's responsible for the overturning of Roe versus Wade was heckled and booed by the Libertarian Party of today.
You have to wonder how serious Trump was about getting the endorsement of the party, because I think I heard over the weekend, Stephen, that he hadn't even filed the proper paperwork for that.
Well, that's right. And the fact is, he's the Republican nominee. He already has access to the ballot. I think it was an opportunity for him to do something provocative and perhaps appeal to a portion of the Libertarian crowd out there in the country that may be inclined to support him rather than Biden if they had to make a choice. But look, if you're a Libertarian, you don't mind voting for a third-party option.
We always appreciate your report, Stephen. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy with us on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
6:49 means a check of the drive this morning, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. How are we looking, Andy?
Well, it looks like we might have a crash in South Salt Lake on I-15 just before the I-80 turnoff. Traffic coming to a stop in the right lane in particular, but all lanes. They've moved it all the way over to the right shoulder, and looks like maybe another vehicle that's still in the right lane. This is right at the turn to I-80. Traffic already slow back to 33rd South. Still have slowdowns on both Mountain View and Bangerter at 3500 South, heading north through West Valley. Heather?
We've got a multi-vehicle crash southbound I-15 in Farmington. This is just before the Park Lane exit. The HOV lane and left shoulder are blocked, and a couple of cars have definitely made contact with each other. One of them is sitting perpendicular in the lanes of travel. This has traffic backed all the way up into the Layton area, so you're going to have to add a good 5 minutes to your drive coming through Davis County. And then we've got some more slowdowns, just a few brake lights as you go through 2600 South and Woods Cross area. Eric.
Northbound SR 36 in Tooele County is slowing up quite a bit as you go through Lake Point to get onto I-80, and you will be in slow down mode at least for a little bit, maybe a quarter mile, before you get up to the 201 highway, and then it gets back up to normal pace for eastbounders. I-15 Utah County, northbound, southbound, that's looking good at the moment. Hogle Zoo has so much to explore, and now there's even more to love. The all-new Aline W. Skaggs Wild Utah exhibit and the Eccles Express train are now open at Hogle Zoo. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL forecast starts off with the warmest day of the year as highs soar into the upper 80s this afternoon under mostly sunny skies. Isolated shower will be possible in the higher terrain this afternoon and evening, but better rain chances will come during the afternoon and evening on Wednesday with a cold front. Temperatures will drop into the upper 70s on Wednesday with partly cloudy skies. Low 70s come Thursday with lots of sunshine to close out the week. Then we're back into the 80s Friday and the weekend. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mashuli.
Right now, sunny and 57 degrees, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
And we'll check money news coming up in just a minute. Well, we've got Memorial Day behind us, so it's summertime, but if you're a person that loves to do things in the outdoors, whether that's playing golf or hiking or going for a run, whatever it is, and you're a little concerned that your ability to do that might be hampered by some aches and pains, you need to listen up. QC Kinetics has arrived in the Valley. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. And so they have lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Their advanced treatments actually harness your body's own ability to restore and repair damaged tissue so you can go out and play that round of golf, walk or run, whatever it is that you're looking forward to doing here as the weather has warmed up. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of a former orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a true pioneer in regenerative medicine, and they want to help you reclaim your mobility. Stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Locations in Mill Creek, Provo, and Bountiful, and you can call QC Kinetics right now for a free consultation. Here's the number to keep handy, 385-766-1987. 385-766-1987. Call QC Kinetics today, 385-766-1987.
I think America is at an important crossroads right now. Case Lawrence running for Congress gives me hope. He's someone who actually understands the American dream. From nothing, Case built one of the most successful businesses in our state. And as a teacher and mentor, he's helped thousands of students and entrepreneurs do the same. I've known Case for over 30 years. He's wise, he's hardworking, he's honest, and I absolutely trust him to fight for the American dream.
I'm Case Lawrence. I approve this message.
Paid for by Case for Congress.
Let's take a look at Utah's money here, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Up to half of all credit reports could have mistakes, meaning a potential impact to credit scores. Consumer Reports and Work Money scrutinized the credit reports of more than 4,000 volunteers to see how accurate they are. 44% included errors, and more than a quarter of those errors damaged their credit scores.
Retailers are offering some big summer sales in hopes that you will be more likely to spend some cash in spite of inflation. Target, Walmart, and other big box stores have announced big price cuts, mostly in the grocery section.
Hey, if you want to splurge today, restaurant chains are helping you out. It's National Hamburger Day. Burger King is going to offer a free burger with the purchase of, well, pretty much anything. Wendy's is offering a junior bacon cheeseburger for $1, and dozens of other chains have similar offers today.
Let's get a look at your money at this moment. The Dow futures are off 42. That's about 0.1%. S&P futures up 5. That's 0.1. The Nasdaq futures up 34. That is 0.2%.
1, 2, 3, 4 cars off in the right-hand emergency lane. Northbound I-15 just past 33rd South. Southbound I-15 also just past Shepherd Lane in Farmington. Both crashes causing delays this hour. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up.
At Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital, we made a bold promise to build the nation's model health system for children. Join us in realizing our vision for the future of pediatric care. So together, we can expand primary children's impact and ensure every child has access to the right care at the right place at the right time. For a century, Primary Children's has kept the child first and always. Help us continue to do so for the next 100 years. To get involved, visit primarypromise.org.
At 34, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I finished up my treatments. I truly, truly feel like every day is a gift. I really want to give back, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to help with this study.
Heredogene is an extraordinarily innovative research study wherein we are looking at the genes of hundreds of thousands of participants.
The more information that we have, the more we can help others.
You can help at heredogene.org.
And the news at this hour is sponsored by Intermountain Healthcare, helping people live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Healthcare, healing for life.
Tonight on NBC, summer's #1 show is back. America's Got Talent.
Are you ready?
With all the drama.
$1 million on the line.
All the emotion.
It would have been easier for me to give up, but I just can't do it.
And even more life-changing golden buzzers.
You know what's going to happen right now? This.
Join Terry, Simon, Howie, Heidi, and Sofia Vergara. The new season of America's Got Talent premieres tonight on NBC.
Tonight on KSL, you know what these street signs mean. Others not always obvious.
I don't know which one applies to where.
Confusing signs leading to unrighteous towing on Utah streets.
Go outside, my car's gone.
Who's responsible?
I didn't know where else to go, and I just wanted to contact you to see what you could do.
KSL's Matt Gephardt uncovers ways you can fight back when your car is hooked.
The signs have to be clear, and they have to be consistent.
Get Gephardt to know before you're towed. Tonight at 10.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson. When we're trying to digest the news of the day, we have to remember that instant certainty is the enemy of truth. A flashy headline may distract you from the real issue and the important conversations underneath.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
My name is J.R. Bird. As mayor of Roosevelt, I increased transparency, led the charge to pass term limits, and kept taxes low. As your congressman, I will leverage my experience in the energy sector to champion energy independence and dominance. I'm determined to defend the unborn, secure our borders, uphold our Second Amendment rights, and bring the same level of transparency that we've upheld locally. I hope to earn your support.
Paid for by Bird for Congress.
6:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. And back to you, Andy.
Amanda, right now, North 15, slow and go from 45th South Murray into South Salt Lake, where we've got a crash on the right shoulder near the turnoff to I-80 to go towards State Street and towards Parley's Canyon. Again, this is a pretty big slowdown considering how well things had been moving earlier. We've got backups on Mountain View and Bangerter as well, heading north through West Valley right now. Heather?
UHP has stopped all traffic right now southbound I-15 in Farmington. This is just before you get to Park Lane. That looks like they're trying to move some of the vehicles out of the way, or at least some of the emergency vehicles taking off possibly with patients. This is due to a crash blocking the HOV lane and left shoulder, but again, they've stopped all the other lanes of traffic for a few minutes to clear out some items. So traffic is backed up to 200 North in Kaysville. You're just going to have to be patient and allow an extra 10 or 15 minutes on your commute right now through Davis County. Eric?
Well, our third spot of major slowing on the freeways doesn't appear to have an accident involved, but you do have pretty significant delays coming out of Tooele County on SR 36, approaching Lake Point, and then getting on to I-80, eastbound I-80 slow for a little bit, but it does clear up by the time you get to the 201 turnoff. S&S Roofing is your trusted source for quality and affordability. They've been the top roofing company in Utah for over 40 years. Schedule an estimate now. Get a free quote at snsroofinginc.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
88 for a high today, the warmest of the year so far, and with sunshine downtown this hour, 57 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 7 o'clock on Utah's Morning News. Good morning, I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story on the 7 o'clock report.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is in Boise this morning for the final phases of the Chad Daybell trial and joins us live now. Adam, tell us what's expected there in the courthouse.
Well, Tim, this could potentially be the final day of testimony in this weeks-long trial, this capital trial up here in Idaho. We're expected to hear the prosecution bring two more witnesses back to the stand in the rebuttal process. They're expected to bring Rexburg Police Detective Ray Hermosillo, who was highly involved in the search for the kids, including to the time that they found their bodies on Chad's property in Salem. And we're also expected to see Janice Olson, a former coworker of Tammy Daybell, called back to the stand, which will likely have something to do with Chad taking out more in life insurance policies right before Tammy's death. Now, once they take the stand, we'll see if the prosecution has anyone left they want to hear from again. But if not, they'll likely rest their case, putting the case in closing arguments likely within the next day or two. Chad Daybell is facing murder and conspiracy charges in his late wife Tammy's death, as well as in the deaths of his wife's two new kids, JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. If convicted, he faces the death penalty. Live in Boise, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We'll be back with Adam in a bit. The latest information on the trial is available on our website, kslnewsradio.com.
The South Salt Lake Police Department says a driver attempted to murder a policeman with his car, not even a month after a Santaquin officer was killed in a similar fashion. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with that story. Peter?
Yeah, Tim, in South Salt Lake this Saturday, as well as in Santaquin 19 days ago, officers approached a suspect with a criminal history in their car, who then tried to get away, but not before revving their engines and hitting a police officer. This time, suspect Tyson Yellowbear allegedly targeted an officer who had laid out a spike strip to stop him. An arresting document says he had enough room to avoid both the officer and the strip, but targeted the officer anyway. The officer rolled over the hood and hit the ground hard enough to cut his radio. The Unified Police Department tells KSL News Radio that officer is out of the hospital, along with another officer who rammed Yellowbear's car to stop him. Yellowbear could be facing a charge of attempted murder. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Police are still searching for the suspects of an attempted robbery this weekend. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with more. Michael?
Amanda, Sandy PD responded to the parking lot where the robbery first happened. They later pieced together the victims chased after the robbers, and at one point, one of the suspects pulled a gun and fired a few shots at their pursuers. Now, eventually, the victims crashed near Jordan High School, but police spokesman Greg Moffitt says they can't confirm if the shooting caused it, and they're still investigating how the crash happened. Moffitt says if you're ever a victim of robbery, please don't take things into your hands and let the police handle it. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
A man is in police custody after police say he started assaulting random people during Mass at the Cathedral of the Madeleine in Salt Lake City. The man allegedly entered the building during the service and just started attacking people with a bamboo wooden sword. He's facing multiple counts of assault.
A Davis County man in police custody is facing additional charges after someone came forward with evidence that he threatened to blow them up over the sale of a puppy. 46-year-old Jeremy Ross Pulver is accused of threatening a man who was going to sell him a puppy when he missed the scheduled pickup time and came back the next day to hear that all the puppies had been sold. He allegedly pulled a gun on the seller.
A Utah man also facing a laundry list of possible charges, including interfering with a peace officer after police say he caused a crash inside a car wash in Sandy. KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce has that story for us live. Becky?
Tim, police arrested Jeffrey Palmer over the weekend in Saratoga Springs one day after he was accused of taking his truck out of neutral and driving into the car in front of him at the Quick Quack near 9800 South and 700 East in Sandy. According to the probable cause statement, police say Palmer refused to exchange details with the other driver, flipped off two officers, and sped away from the scene. When they caught up with him the next day, police say he struck two of the officers and made other threats. Palmer was booked into the Salt Lake County Jail. Prosecutors will now have to screen charges. Live, Becky Bruce, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Closing arguments begin today in the former president's criminal hush money trial.
On the evening before closing arguments in his criminal trial, Donald Trump took to social media to complain that prosecutors will have the last word before the jury. Under New York state law, defense attorneys deliver their closing argument first, followed by prosecutors. Trump writing on social media, quote, "Big advantage, very unfair." Trump also attacked Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and the judge overseeing his case, comments permitted under the case's limited gag order. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
A Pennsylvania father who spent more than a week in jail in Turks and Caicos is speaking out about his ordeal. Brian Hagerich was detained after he says he accidentally left some ammunition in his luggage. He pleaded guilty and received a suspended sentence of 52 weeks and a fine of $6,700. He was grateful to leave jail behind.
I was with 3 folks that were accused of murder. It was scary. You just don't know who's next to you, who's coming in.
Hagerich and his wife spoke exclusively with ABC's Good Morning America. He's one of a handful of Americans detained in Turks and Caicos under their gun control laws in the last 6 months.
First look traffic on the 7 o'clock report, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Several crashes, several slow spots. North 15, we've got a crash in South Salt Lake near the turnoff to I-80, slowing you back to 5300 South Murray. Then South 15's backed up from Kaysville to Farmington because of a crash right on the border that's blocking the HOV lane. And we've had delays for traffic out of Tooele County. Lake Point's been slow all the way to I-80's on-ramp and then a little bit after the on-ramp as well. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Did you go to drive-in theaters when you were a kid?
Oh, sure.
I missed that with my family, where you'd pack all your own popcorn and bring whatever candy you wanted and then just enjoy a double feature. Another one is gone now, or will be soon, a Riverdale drive-in theater ready to be demolished. The old Coleman's Motor View drive-in has been closed for years now. The 20-acre site will be demolished to make way for a housing development. The Riverdale Community Development Directors say the site will be making a tribute to the theater. The site will be known as the Coleman View Estates. Demolition to begin next week.
A preschooler from Beaver continues to recover after almost drowning last Tuesday. KSL TV's Brittany Tate spoke with family spokesman Mindy Clark.
Levi has been sedated for safety reasons after he woke up and lifted his head a few nights ago. One particular nurse who has grown close to the family hasn't wanted to leave his side.
For this same nurse to just intuitively know that he likes people around, it's like it just goes to show God's hand is still at work.
Clark says Levi has gotten support from Uganda and Australia.
Medication to treat ADHD is still in a shortage, but it's said to be easing up.
In the last 2 decades, parents reporting their child for having ADHD has increased 96% in Utah and is still going up. Physician's associate at the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, Ron Tuller, says social media could be one factor.
I would ask, how did you come to the conclusion that you suspect you have ADHD? And more often than not, people are saying, oh, I saw a TikTok video or there was an Instagram post.
Patients needing medication may find it easier to fill their prescriptions. Pharmacy director for the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, Anthony May, says the current ADHD medication shortage was started back in the pandemic.
A lot of the reason for the shortage is tied back to during the pandemic, the DEA kind of granted some flexibilities for prescribing controlled substances.
Josue Sanchez, KSL News Radio.
Kids go hungry over the summer more than any other time of year. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
When kids don't have school lunch or breakfast to rely on, it can leave a big gap in nutrition for those facing food insecurity. President and CEO of the Utah Food Bank, Jeanette Bott, says more and more people are now impacted due to inflation. She says food pantries are seeing increased numbers even before the hungriest season hits.
Bott says donations of food, time, or money are incredibly helpful to keep the food pantries running through the summer.
I guess this isn't surprising. Parents with younger children having a harder time with their finances, according to new data from the Federal Reserve. The number of parents with children under 18 feeling financially secure dropped from 69% in 2022 to 64% last year. That was down from a record high of 75% in 2021. Experts say pandemic-era funds and rising child care costs have destabilized families' budgets. KSL News Time 7:09. Traffic and weather together again is brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Really slow now getting past that accident site on southbound I-15.
Yeah, we've got a crash. It's actually northbound I-15 around the 2700 South area in Salt Lake City. Traffic backed up all the way to 5300 South. There is a little stretch right after 45th where it starts to speed up and you think you're in the clear, but no, you're not. You've got delays basically from 53rd to I-80. We have a little bit of slowing SR-201 at 7200 West. And we've still got Mountain View backups at 35th South in West Valley. Heather?
Well, we've got our typical delays forming southbound I-15 between Riverdale and Roy due to construction. But the worst delays are between 200 North and Kaysville and the Park Lane exit in Farmington. Traffic is at a crawl through that 3-mile stretch. It's due to a crash just before the Park Lane exit, still blocking the HOV lane and left shoulder. Multiple emergency vehicles are on the scene, and that's really keeping things just very, very slow through the area. You need to allow an extra 10 to 15 minutes if you are trying to get through Davis County into downtown Salt Lake. Eric.
We still got slowdowns northbound SR 36 out in Tooele County trying to get on the freeway at Lake Point. Northbounders slowed there on SR 36 and I-80, at least for a little bit as you head east toward the valley. If you're over on the 215 eastbound, that looks good. Heading north on I-80 through the mountains, no problems there. Experience the charm and hospitality during Park City Gallery Association's Memorial Friday Gallery Stroll. Experience local creativity on Main Street featuring family-friendly atmosphere for everyone. Find your inspiration with art and springtime in Park City. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
This morning, we're starting off a touch warmer compared to Memorial Day with temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. Temperatures around lunchtime will be near 80, and highs this afternoon will be in the upper 80s. We will see a little bit more cloud coverage throughout the afternoon, but it'll still be a mostly sunny day. We do have a 20% rain chance in northern Utah, mainly in the higher terrain, but some better rain chances will come on Wednesday with the cold front. With your hourly forecast on the 7 o'clock report, I'm Devin Mishuli.
These temperatures are warming up quickly, as you might expect. It's already 59 downtown.
The prosecution may call their last witness in the Chad Daybell trial today. We're going to talk more with Adam Small, who is live in Boise, coming up in a moment.
The small city of Washington, Utah, says they've saved 87 million gallons of water with smart meters. The city is the first in the state to convert to and install advanced metering infrastructure water meters. They can prevent days or months of leaks with sensors that send messages to the base stations.
Passengers on board a Florida-bound Spirit Airlines flight almost had a water landing. Passenger Bettina Rogers tells ABC News she heard the pilot advise the crew to prepare for an emergency water landing. That's when she said panic set in.
You just told us that not to worry, and now you're telling us we're about to land in this water.
Fortunately, the plane safely turned around and landed at a Jamaica terminal. Everyone on board was provided with meal vouchers, hotel accommodations, and were rebooked. Yeah.
Need a good bit of therapy there afterward. Water is proving to be a different type of scare for people in San Clemente, California. Officials closed several beaches over the weekend after what they're calling aggressive shark behavior. Here's beachgoer Laura Ferose, who was with her kids.
The kids want to go in the water. They want to know how many sharks. They want to know what's going to happen. My daughter asked if sharks can eat police officers and people.
Yeah, they said a shark bumped somebody off of their surfboard.
Yeah, I read that.
Yikes. The shark behavior was observed on Sunday.
Police say a 50-year-old man led them on a chase through Silver Creek. The man was allegedly swerving in and out of oncoming traffic, believed to be heavily intoxicated. He was arrested on 6 different charges.
9 people are picking up the pieces after a house fire last night. Payson Fire Chief Scott Spencer says the kitchen and garage had around $200,000 in damages, but the home is not a total loss. No injuries were reported.
Soap opera star Johnny Wachter was killed this weekend after police say he was shot while trying to stop robbers from stealing the catalytic converter on his car. He is known for his role on General Hospital.
Yeah, sad.
Wow.
And so they have 3 suspects. They're looking for surveillance cameras of anything that might be able to, lead to an arrest here. Trending this hour on the 7 o'clock report, a long-awaited documentary about Muppet creator Jim Henson comes to Disney Plus later this week.
Hi-oh, this is Kermit the Frog speaking to you from the scene of the accident.
Jim Henson, Idea Man, is directed by Ron Howard, and critics' responses so far have been overwhelmingly positive.
Oh, that's going to be great. In the battle of 2 big movies the same weekend, the apocalyptic wasteland won out.
Whatever you have to do. However long it takes.
I apologize in advance. The eating you're about to see will not be pretty.
Furiosa beat out Garfield at the box office, but just barely. The Mad Max franchise installment took home $32 million in ticket sales over the holiday weekend, compared to just over $31 million for the lasagna-loving cat. But it was one of the worst Memorial Day weekend box office showings in decades.
Yeah, and they said it was down 22% from a year ago.
Wow.
KSL News Time now, 7:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First, we are in the final bit of evidence being given in the trial of Chad Daybell in Boise. Our Adam Small will join us here in just a moment.
Second, the South Salt Lake Police Department says a driver attempted to murder a policeman with his car.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
South 15 still backed up Kaysville to Farmington from one crash. Northbound 15 from Murray to South Salt Lake because of another crash. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Tracking the warmest day of the year so far, I'm Devin Mishuli.
And right now, it is 61 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And time for a check of our top national stories with ABC News.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Closing arguments begin this hour in Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial in New York. ABC's Aaron Katursky is at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, where the defense is expected to focus on the testimony of Trump's former fixer Michael Cohen during today's proceedings.
Cohen said he spoke to Trump some 20 times about the hush payment, so he's expected to be a focus of the defense, which will call him a liar whose testimony cannot be trusted. The closing arguments, starting with the defense, are expected to take all day. The jury is not expected to begin deliberating the 34 felony counts of falsifying business records until first thing tomorrow.
Members expected alongside Trump in court today include Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, and his wife Lara, as well as his younger daughter Tiffany Trump. The holiday weekend marked by violent weather in several states, including Texas.
This is Jim Ryan in Dallas-Fort Worth.
We're in it, we're in it.
Some of the most remarkable and terrifying audio to come out of the weekend storms was captured inside a Cadillac SUV.
I thought we were coming off the ground.
Valina Gill and her friend came face-to-face with a tornado in Cook County, Texas.
That's when I really freaked.
The SUV held the road and now is sandblasted on one side.
Windows cracked from the debris.
After the wind died, Valina Gill and Brenda Proctor Dance realized
We're very lucky to be alive.
Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
In addition to deaths in Texas, people were killed in Arkansas, Kentucky, and Oklahoma, 22 in all.
Let's go in depth now. It's a busy day in Boise where the prosecution will call more rebuttal witnesses today in the trial of Chad Daybell.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is there and joins us live. Is this expected to be the last day of testimony, Adam?
Well, it very well could be, Amanda. It all really comes down to, is the prosecution going to stick to just the two rebuttal witnesses that we're expecting to hear from today, or do they have others that they want to hear from? Now, if they don't, they will likely also rest their case. That if Chad Daybell's defense has already rested their case, so if the prosecution has these two and decides they're ready to rest, we're looking at closing arguments here within the next day or two.
What do we know about those rebuttal witnesses and what they might come back to say?
Well, we know one expected to take the stand today is Rexburg Police Detective Ray Hermosillo. He was the very first witness called in this case. He was a police detective involved from the time that Kay Woodcock, J.J. Vallo's grandmother, asked police to do a welfare check back in 2019, and he was part of this investigation all the way through the time that they found the kids' bodies. So it could just be some clarifying questions. It'll be interesting to see what part of the investigation the prosecution wants to talk more about. The other expected to take the stand is Janice Olson, who's a former coworker of Tammy Daybell, who's Chad's late wife. And that she testified early in May about how Tammy was a perfectly healthy adult. And I know it's probably going to have to do something with the fact that Chad took out a lot of life insurance against Tammy right before she died. So it'll be interesting to see what they have to say. It could just be some clarifying. They want to get some things out that maybe they weren't able to get out the first time. But after that, we'll see who they call. But that's probably what we're going to hear today, at least.
You were there for opening statements so many weeks ago, Adam. Does it feel any different just ahead of the closing statements?
Well, it feels like the case still. It feels like the prosecution is still taking the same tone. It feels like as I've reviewed the case over these last several weeks of testimony, it seems like both sides have really come through with what they're trying to do. Chad's defense really trying to create a reasonable doubt. They had witnesses called to the stand. They had one forensic expert talk about how they didn't believe that there was any scientific evidence that Tammy's death was actually a homicide. But then the prosecution's also gone very hard on the text message string, these odd religious beliefs that kind of center around this whole conspiracy allegedly to kill the kids and Tammy Daybell. So it'll be interesting to see how they follow through. I'm anxious to see how they decide to close this case versus how they opened it. But I feel like they've really gone through both sides with their promises.
All right, Adam, I know we'll be checking in with you throughout the day today, and as long as it takes this week. I'll tell you, somebody that'll be glad this is put behind them is that jury, I'm sure.
Oh, I bet.
This has been going on a long
Yeah.
time, or at least it seems like it to me. That is our in-depth this hour at 15 and 45.
Let's get another look at traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy?
Amanda, the slowdowns at 53rd South and Murray are starting to break up, but still pretty thick north 15 from 45th to I-80 because of a crash on the right shoulder. A lot of emergency vehicles, but a tow truck. Actually, they're hooking one of the trucks up to one of the UDOT vehicles, maybe tow it off the road. Still have traffic slow on Mountain View, this time at 5400 South instead of 35th South. Bangor okay, although it's a bit heavy at your light at 98 South, and always we seem to have some slowing at 3500 South. Heather?
We still have 3 miles of pretty much stopped traffic as you approach 200 North in Kaysville, all the way down to the Park Lane exit in Farmington. It's due to a crash still blocking the HOV lane and left shoulder. Looks like it might be a while before everything is cleaned up in that area. Now, before you even get into Kaysville, you do have some slow and stop-and-go traffic leaving Ogden area down to 5600 South and Roy. That is due to construction. But the good news is the rest of the freeways in Weber and Davis County are at speed. Eric?
Getting on I-80 out in Tooele County, that's a bit slow approaching Lake Point and then getting onto the entrance ramp. Once you're on I-80, it looks like it's back up to speed, so things are improving a little bit. I-15 in Utah County, northbound, southbound, no problems there. Revere Health encourages you to schedule your preventative care and annual checkups to help increase the potential to live your most healthy and active life. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner in life. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
The 7-day forecast features a lot of dry time, but we do have a few rain chances to mention. This Tuesday afternoon, an isolated shower and storm in the higher terrain in northern Utah will be possible. Then on Wednesday, when a cold front moves through, we have a few shower chances in northern Utah with an isolated thunderstorm possible. Then we dry out for the remainder of the work week. Temperatures today, warmest of the year in the upper 80s. We fall into the upper 70s on Wednesday, low 70s Thursday. Then we're back into the 80s as we close out the work week and start the month of June. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mishuli.
Sunny downtown this hour, beautiful morning, 60 degrees, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We're just monitoring. Former President Trump speaking right now outside that New York courthouse before closing arguments begin today in this trial that's been going on for so many weeks. We'll follow the procedure today and share it with you here on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 7:22.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Alliance House is a Salt Lake City-based nonprofit that provides a supportive environment for adults living with mental illness, operating on the pillars of education, employment, and housing. Executive Director Paige Huff joins us with more.
Alliance House is part of a program called Clubhouse International, which helps communities across 32 countries find solutions for those living with mental illness. Our organization takes a unique approach to working with these individuals, as we are not clinical and we do not provide therapy or medication. Rather, we are a deliberate community where members, not clients, are seen for their talents, strengths, and abilities. At Alliance House, we help members complete educational goals, develop necessary work skills to return to productive employment in the community, and even secure affordable housing. Our organization is deliberately understaffed so that members can volunteer their time to help run Alliance House, side by side with other members and staff. Through this, we develop meaningful relationships and our members gain confidence and purpose to integrate into the larger community. If you are interested in donating or getting involved, visit our website at alliancehouse.org.
Alliance House's mission is to rebuild confidence, purpose, and community in the Salt Lake area through education, productive work, and meaningful relationships. Learn how you can help at their website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. More Americans are going without homeowners insurance, in part because so many companies are dropping coverage for disaster-prone areas. I wonder, too, Tim, how much it's related to just those premiums going up so high.
Yeah, you'd have to own your home outright, wouldn't you? Because if you carried a loan, the bank would be all over you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those homeowners say a new policy with a different company is just too pricey. There you go. Yahoo Finance reports 12% of homeowners went without insurance last year. That's more than double the number from before the pandemic.
A number of Americans say it's become too costly to retire here in the States, so they're planning to retire overseas instead. A new Monmouth poll found the number of Americans planning to retire abroad has tripled over 30 years, and a key deciding factor for many of them was the cost of health care.
Inflation isn't hurting the cruise business. NBC reports the industry welcomed nearly 32 million passengers last year, which was 7% more than 2019. This year, they're expecting 35 million people to cruise.
All right, Dow Jones Industrials just ahead of the bell are down, but not by much. It's off 52 points. That's about a tenth. The S&P is up 7 1/4. The Nasdaq in the green this hour by 45. And look at gold. It's up $25.50 an ounce.
We have big delays this morning from Kaysville to Farmington on southbound I-15 because of a crash that's still blocking the HOV lane. We'll share more information about that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
When I was looking for the market numbers, I also noticed this morning that the home prices, the value of homes, is up 7.4% in the last year.
Oh, wow.
In the 20 largest markets across the country. Figuring out what your home might be worth in the market these days is like a moving target, but there is an easy way to get started.
Go to the Stern team. My husband and I worked with the Cammie at the Stern team a couple of months ago, and she was just wonderful. But it's not just me. I mean, I look at some of these testimonials, and there are so many of them, but I love the story of how this man's grandfather passed away. He had lived in the same house for 52 years. And the grandson just felt overwhelmed, as you might imagine, and the Stern team helped coordinate everything to get the home ready to sell. And the client said that Lee Stern listed the house and it sold for about 10% more than the asking price. They closed in 7 days.
Holy cow. And so here's how you get started. Again, to figure out what your home may be worth in this market that seems to be changing on almost a daily basis, you go to sternteam.com, and at the top of the homepage, you click on Sell and then go to Home Evaluation. Put in your address, and you can find out within 30 seconds just how much your property may be worth right now based on the comps that are in the neighborhood.
Right. They just are wonderful, and they handle every detail. Find out more. Go to sternteam.com or just Google the Stern Team.
Dear class of 2024, you're donning caps and gowns just as things reach a tipping point. War overseas, protests, artificial intelligence. It seems like a lot, but you're just the kind of people to build a new sense of hope. Congratulations, graduates. Make the world proud. And better. A message of hope for the future from your friends at KSL News Radio.
Oh boy, 7:29, and we've got some emergency traffic to pass along here, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Where are you looking, Andy?
Well, it's that crash in Farmington on southbound 15, just before you get to Park Lane, a little bit after the Shepherd Lane overpass. Traffic is just at a crawl all the way back to Layton Parkway. The HOV lane is blocked, and so everybody getting forced into the left lane. It looks for a while like the HOV is a great option, and then eventually they're going to force you in with everybody else. But that's the big delay right now. And West Davis Corridor, if you live on the west side of I-15, this is a great day to take that and bypass all the delays. Heather?
Well, the crash northbound I-15 in South Salt Lake has cleared. All the lanes are open. There's no cars on the shoulder, but traffic backed up to about 7200 south in Midvale. The good news is it is moving along. It's just going to be under the posted freeway limit. You do have delays as well on Mountain View Corridor northbound between 4100 and 3500 south, and Bangalore Highway getting pretty congested heading north as well through all the construction zones. Eric.
Got a slight amount of northbound slowdowns on I-15 in Utah County. This is between Provo and Orem going through the S-curves. Now, earlier we did have some southbound slowing, but that quickly cleared up. Let's see if this happens again. If you're northbound Mountain View Corridor coming up from SR 73 in Eagle Mountain, that's a bit slow going up towards Redwood Road, and then continuing on 2100 north eastbound over to the freeway, that's also slow. For a limited time, new America First Credit Union members get $100 when opening a checking account or $50 when opening a youth checking account. Head to americafirst.com and join today. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's going to be warm today, 88 for a high. We're already at 61 degrees. And I just wanted to remind you that the movie show is at Advanced Window Products this Friday from 10 to 1. Save up to $2,500 on 10 or more new windows from Advanced Window Products during the movie show.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 7:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
A BYU alum is running for Senate in Missouri, and the director of Evan McMullen's independent presidential run in 2016 is helping him start a new political party.
KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston reports live. Peter?
Amanda, independent Senate candidate Jared Young has a video on his campaign website summing up the reason behind his run and the new party he's starting.
The greatest way to love your country is to love your neighbor. That's the only way any of this gets better. Partisan politics will never be able to bring us together.
He's running on the ticket for what he calls the Better Party, which bases support for candidates on their civility and their treatment of other candidates. And he's also enlisted the support of Evan McMullen presidential campaign manager Joel Searby, who tells KSL.com he sees real potential in Young because of his character and that he's putting skin in the game. Young has loaned his campaign just shy of $250,000. Reporting live from Salt Lake City, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Utah Senator Mike Lee was met with boos at the Libertarian National Convention this weekend. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with more details. Michael.
Tim, Senator Lee made a pitch for former President Donald Trump before leaving the podium, and the crowd's response was captured and shared on social media.
Take a listen to Donald Trump, support Donald Trump, restore the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Senator Lee was telling the Libertarian crowd that even though they don't agree with Trump, things would be better with him than with President Joe Biden. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
An iconic statue in the Utah Capitol building will soon be on its way to the nation's capital. The statue of Martha Hughes Cannon, the state's first female state senator and pioneer in women's suffrage, will be displayed in the Capitol's Hall of Statues. It will represent Utah alongside a statue of Brigham Young.
An arson investigation is underway after a nearly century-old meeting house for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints burned down over the weekend. A local resident says that looters have tried to break into the church.
Police have had to take out big groups of people with all their stuff several times.
Firefighters had to rescue 2 people inside the building when the fire first broke out.
Sandy police say a resident of a homeless shelter is under arrest on suspicion of murder.
Investigators say 60-year-old Laura Northrup was in custody Monday morning facing charges of investigation of murder and tampering with evidence. A probable cause affidavit says the body of the victim, Stephanie Lynn Hackett Carrasco, was discovered late Sunday afternoon by another roommate. Evidence, including video surveillance, blood found on a red fanny pack-style bag that the suspect was holding when she returned to the room, led to Northrup's arrest. The Medically Vulnerable People Program facility in Sandy, formerly an Econo-Lodge, provides housing and medical care to seniors, veterans, and the medically frail who are experiencing homelessness. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
Westbound I-80 was closed for several hours over the holiday after a wrong-way crash. Utah Highway Patrol says they got calls of a reckless driver before that crash. The driver hit a pickup truck pulling a horse trailer. The occupants luckily were okay. The driver was taken to the hospital in serious condition. Impairment being investigated as a possible factor.
KSL's top national stories now. A swath of storms carved a path of destruction from the plains to the east coast over the holiday weekend. Now, as residents clean up, it's impacting air travel.
The weekend storms killed at least 22 people from Texas to Kentucky. And in Missouri,
At least 5 tornadoes reported near St. Louis, damaging several homes and businesses. More than 5,000 flights were delayed nationwide, and hundreds were canceled.
That's ABC's Andrew Dimbert reporting.
Todd and Lisa Smith trying to pick up the pieces in Valley View, Texas, after a tornado touched down there. The Smiths lost a horse and some other animals.
Sort of having to rebuild it all again. I mean, I don't know if we've got the energy to do it.
Hundreds of other homes in the area were affected.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
We've got emergency traffic South 15, just almost at a stop between Layton Parkway and Shepherd Lane, almost at Park Lane in Farmington because of a crash blocking the HOV lane. And we still have northbound 15 slowdowns most of the way from Murray into South Salt Lake because of a crash just before the I-80 turnoff. And now a weird little bit of delay on North 15 right at the point of the mountain, too. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Some mineral resources in short supply have been found here in Utah.
We know that these rare earth elements are there now, that we've done some work.
University of Utah Associate Professor Laura Bergenheyer says that work involved studying active coal mines in eastern Utah and western Colorado for the past couple of years.
There's been evidence that actually coal deposits do a pretty good job of actually preserving some of these heavier rare earth elements, and those are particularly valuable in a lot of different modern products in magnet in clean energy transition.
She says right now the U.S. has to rely on other countries, especially China, for these rare earth elements, many of which are critical to clean energy. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Basketball fans are saying goodbye to one of the giants in the sport. At the age of 71, Bill Walton has died of cancer. ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
At UCLA, he led the Bruins to 2 NCAA championships. After he was chosen first in the 1974 NBA draft, he'd win championships with the Trailblazers and Celtics, picking up regular season and finals MVP awards before foot injuries cut his career short. Then, an improbable second act. Walton fought through a lifelong stutter to become one of the game's most adored broadcasters.
The 6'11" basketball great was known for his on-court heroics and his off-court personality.
Yeah, Andrew was talking about his runs in the NCAA tournament. His national championship game in 1973 was one for the ages. He had 44 points.
Oh, wow.
And I think 13 rebounds, and he only missed one shot from the field. He was 21 out of 22.
Amazing.
In that 1973 run. Thousands of athletes from the U.S. and around the world are getting ready for the Summer Olympic Games in Paris, and their mental health is becoming more of a focus.
Stress, anxiety, and frustration are common emotions an Olympic athlete may feel leading up to the Games. But something commonly felt after the competition is grief. Grief because the competition is over, that they didn't get gold, that maybe they missed a family event, or suffered an injury that prevented them from doing their best. Sports psychologist Dr. Natasha Trujillo says grief is all about patience.
The only way to handle grief is to be with it and go through it and sit with it, which is really, really hard for elite athletes because they're productive.
Alessandra Gurr, KSL News Radio.
Southbound I-15 backups in Davis County stretching to the Layton Parkway. It all started with this crash in the HOV lane in Farmington. We'll check it coming up next.
Listen to KSL for news to get exactly what you want.
Stories about what's going to affect me.
Traffic. If I want to know now, I'll go to KSL Radio.
Hear the important stories, the stories that affect you.
On KSL News Radio.
Up to a 30% upfront bonus and 12% per year guaranteed growth for retirement. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and these are the highest guarantees with annuities I have seen in my life. When interest rates are this high, there are silver linings, and annuity guarantees are one of them. Up to a 30% bonus upfront for retirement income. On $100,000, that's up to $42,000 guaranteed in the first year. And it's because of the economy and its high interest rates. Don't let anyone, especially another financial advisor, tell you it's not true. Up to 30% upfront just for opening an account and up to 12% per year guaranteed income growth. Don't miss out. This won't last forever. If you have an old 401k, get up to 30% upfront and 12% guaranteed growth for income today.
Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
I'm John Curtis. As a small businessman, I built gun ranges to help our law enforcement and our military. As mayor of Provo, I took aim at reducing waste, and we balanced our budget. In Congress, I've stood up to Biden and voted repeatedly against his reckless spending.
And when it comes to standing up to D.C. and protecting our land, John Curtis has done that too. He forced the federal government to transfer more land back to Utah than anyone in state history.
I'll never let D.C. bureaucrats or outsiders tell us how to manage our land.
And John Curtis is the only candidate China has threatened to arrest because John stands up to the communist aggression. And Curtis is fighting to secure our border and stop the cartel's deadly flow of drugs in our country.
I will always stand up for America and Utah. That's why I approve this message.
John Curtis, conservative Republican for U.S. Senate.
I'd be honored to have your support.
Paid for by John Curtis for Utah.
7:39, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Days. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy?
Amanda, they're still cleaning up a crash blocking the HOV lane southbound 15 right on the border of Kaysville and Farmington, and the traffic backed up all the way to Layton. In fact, it is going to take you about 15 to 20 minutes or more to get through this backup. Now, maybe even a little bit more. It might be worth it if you're coming down past Hill Air Force Base. Think about heading west and getting onto West Davis Corridor. That'll merge you back onto I-15 after where this crash is. Highway 89, also a decent alternate. It hasn't really backed up too much yet either. Heather?
Northbound I-15 in the Salt Lake Valley has typical slowdowns between Bangerter Highway and 106 South and Sandy. But then you have more brake lights, some slow and go traffic between 7200 South and Midvale, all the way into South Salt Lake. The 201 freeway is also seeing its typical slowdowns as you come out of Magna. Head over to the West Side Belt and you'll be slow on Bangerter Highway and Mountain View Corridor northbound through West Valley City. Eric?
Not seeing any problems in Utah County really on I-15. Well, I'll take that back. We do have some slowing going from Provo into Orem through the S-curves there, and a little bit after you go past Timpanogos Highway, some brake tapping approaching Point of the Mountain. Out in Tooele County, SR-36 is slow going from the Pole Canyon Road intersection all the way up to Lake Point, trying to get onto I-80. That's sort of typical slowing there. Revere Health encourages you to schedule your preventative care and annual checkups to help increase the potential to live your most healthy and active life. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner in life. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll start this Tuesday with temperatures in the mid-50s and mostly sunny skies. We'll see a few clouds develop in the afternoon. One of these clouds could develop an isolated shower. However, that will generally be in the higher terrain. Today's also going to be the warmest day of the year so far, with highs in the upper 80s. But a cold front will move through on Wednesday that'll bring another isolated rain chance to northern Utah and a cool down. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mishuli.
It is warming up quickly now. 63 downtown.
72 tornadoes in a dozen states.
Crazy.
Holy cow. We'll talk more about this wild weather with Jim Ryan in just a moment.
Right now, though, it's time for Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, and it's brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
This is My Minute of News, brought to you by Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air, anyhourservices.com. I know you need to have the right look for 2023, so I want to clue you in about the newest gotta-have plastic surgery. It's called buccal fat removal, B-U-C-C-A-L, buccal fat. I could explain this in 3 seconds. Are you ready? Suck your cheeks in. You got your cheeks sucked in? Good. That is what buccal fat removal does. I'll let Dr. Philip Miller explain his version.
So buccal fat's a very simple procedure that is done under local anesthesia. A small little incision is done on the inside of the mouth where I find the buccal fat and I tease it out and then cut it and close it and you're done.
Wait a few days to heal and now you look like an Eastern European supermodel with prominently defined cheekbones. Or you look like Lurch from the Addams Family.
I'm a wallflower.
Lurch, who you could look like an hour after walking into the doctor's office. You'll have sucked-in cheeks. Your wallet will be $8,000 lighter. Everybody is talking about this because of all the celebrities who slipped into the doctor's office for the buccal fat procedure over the past year. There are whispers about Lea Michele from Glee, Margot Robbie, Zoe Kravitz, Megan Fox, and many other famous young women. The problem is it looks flattering at first, but it's permanent. And as you age, you develop sunken cheeks and begin to look like a skeleton. It might be sexy when you're 20-something, but when you're 50-something, it can make you look 80-something, and that's something you ought to consider. You can get buccal fat removed in a snap of the fingers. But the effects last for a lifetime. Right, Lurch?
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
Brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox. IRS harassing you? The law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life,
it's never good news. My name is Jim. So I went through a difficult time with a divorce. Then the economy crashed. I was out of work. Combination of the way that my ex-wife was filing the tax returns caused mine to get rejected, and I found myself in a difficult situation that I didn't know how to get out of. Don't face the IRS alone. With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone. I could not believe that it was even possible. I had hoped for something, never dreamt in my wildest dreams he would get what he got. You need someone to fight for you. We owed $80,300 and something, and I paid $1,000. Visit taxhelput.com and get relief today. Let's solve your tax problems now. Visit taxhelput.com. It was incredible. Do yourself a favor. Call Jordan Wilcox. That's taxhelput.com.
Good morning, KSL News Time 7:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a BYU alum is recruited the campaign manager behind Evan McMullen's run for president in 2016 to help him run for Senate and start a new political party in Missouri. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, one of the main mental struggles of Olympic athletes is learning how to deal with grief. The grief of not winning the gold, of retiring from the games, the grief of injury, or of missing other parts of life.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
And right now, traffic is still really backed up from Layton to Farmington from a crash blocking the HOV lane. Crash has been cleared in South Salt Lake near 33rd South and I-80, or at least mostly cleared up, but we still have slowdowns that stretches back as far as 7200 South. Plus, it's getting worse now between Bangerter and Draper. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
After a beautiful Memorial Day, it gets even warmer with highs in the upper 80s. I'm Devin Mashuli.
And right now, let's see where we are this morning. It's already warm, 63 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Looks like Donald Trump's defense now making their closing arguments in New York. Let's check in with ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Closing arguments beginning this morning in Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial. He is accused of falsifying business records to cover up hush money payments made to an adult film star during the run-up to the 2016 election. ABC's Rachel Scott has more.
The former president clearly frustrated heading into this pivotal week in that hush money case. He spent the Memorial Day weekend lashing out at the various judges overseeing his criminal and civil trials. Trump, just hours after posting to social media honoring our fallen veterans on Memorial Day, quickly turned to attacking the, quote, human scum, accusing them of tearing down the country.
Pope Francis has apologized after he was quoted using a vulgar term to reaffirm the Catholic Church's ban on gay priests. Deadly airstrikes in Gaza. The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says 50 civilians were killed when a refugee camp in Rafah was hit by missiles. 20 people, more than, hurt in severe weather across the country over the weekend. This is ABC News.
Let's go in depth on that deadly holiday weekend from the plains to the East Coast as strong storms generated at least 72 tornadoes nationwide.
ABC's Jim Ryan joins us live from Texas. This just looks terrible, Jim.
And it goes on and on, Amanda. It's not just the Memorial Day weekend. It's really been this whole month. In fact, this has been the most active springtime weather season in 13 years, the most violent as well, considering the many who have died in these storms. And right now, another storm has moved into Dallas-Fort Worth and is creating problems. Something like 800,000 homes and businesses right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area without electricity, and a lingering threat of tornadoes again in East Texas. So, yeah, it's not over yet. The tornado that struck Valley View on Saturday, this tornado just north of Dallas-Fort Worth, killed 7 people, the deadliest in this area, in the entire state, in fact, since 2015.
Certainly some of these areas are used to this, but we're also hearing, Jim, that it's happening in places that are a little uncommon. So I'm curious what the general mood of people in areas where you are happen to be today.
Well, it's concerned certainly that this keeps happening over and over again. And, you know, if a storm the size, if an EF2 tornado of the type that took out Valley View and killed 7 people on Saturday had struck in downtown Dallas or in downtown Fort Worth in the middle of the business day, it could have been horrific. So I think people are feeling cautious. They're also feeling kind of lucky that it hasn't struck. The storm that struck that killed 10 people about 9 years ago was pretty much in downtown Dallas or very close to downtown Dallas. So we've been lucky in that way.
I've only been in one tornado that we had here in Utah, I don't know, 20 years ago or something now. But do you get a warning in advance, and does it do any good?
Well, yeah. We knew that these severe thunderstorms, tornadoes are spun off of severe thunderstorms. So you'll never have a tornado without that severe thunderstorm. And so those are the warnings you get first, that a severe thunderstorm is coming, and it may have the sort of profile that could spin off tornadoes. So we do get some warning, at least a half hour, an hour's worth, sometimes 3 or 4 hours. And occasionally the Weather Service issues these unusually strong storm warnings a couple of days in advance. So there is a warning, but then you've got to do something with that, Amanda. We know that those people in Valley View were hunkered down. They were trying to hide from the storm, but it didn't matter much at that point.
So tragic. Thank you for that report, Jim. Jim Ryan with us on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
All right, let's check that traffic. We've had emergency traffic going on for a little while now. Traffic and weather brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Does look like that tow truck arrived finally.
Yeah, we're still waiting, though, for them to reopen the HOV lane at the border of Farmington and Kaysville. The traffic is just at a nightmare all the way back to Layton Hills Mall now to the Hillfield Road exit. So if you're coming south past the base, you may want to switch over to Highway 89 or out to the West Davis corridor. Those will both put you back on I-15 after where this crash is causing the backups. Heather?
In Salt Lake Valley, northbound I-15, pretty much a solid wall of traffic now from the point of the mountain coming out of Utah County all the way up to the I-80 East split in South Salt Lake. The 201 freeway also seeing quite a few brake lights coming out of Magna all the way over to the west side belt, as well as your typical delays on Bangerter Highway and Mountain View Corridor. Eric?
Well, we got some northbound slowing between Provo and Orem this morning because of a crash that's up against the left barrier right as you approach Center Street in Provo. The HOV lane is open, and folks are still using that, though that's kind of a tight squeeze, and you might want to think about getting into the main lanes of traffic. Now, from that point all the way up to Point of the Mount, just a smidgen of slowing approaching the county line. And you've got Redwood Road slowing approaching 2100 North, as well as Mountain View Corridor approaching that the Redwood Road intersection. Need a perfect event venue? There's a place. This is the place. Heritage Park, ideal for weddings, events, featuring 11 venues, beautiful grounds, affordability for any celebration. Call or visit thisistheplace.org. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive. Bountiful, and Devin Mashuli is here. It's beautiful morning, Devin.
Hey, good morning. Yes, kind of a mild start, and we have the warmest day of the year so far in store for us today. Highs will be in the mid to upper 80s. We'll see lots of sunshine today. A few clouds in the afternoon across northern Utah with an isolated shower chance in the higher terrain. We do have a cold front moving through tomorrow. May bring the slight chance for a few showers. Generally, it'll be a mostly dry day. I think just pockets of rain. Partly cloudy. Highs will be in the upper 70s. We've fallen to the low 70s on Thursday, but that's really the coolest temperature in our 7-day. We have sunshine by the end of the work week and highs near 80. And then the mid to upper 80s to start the weekend and the first day of June.
Yeah, we took a nice bicycle ride yesterday. Rode the motorcycle this morning, which I'm grateful for.
Oh, good. You could probably do it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nice cool air out there to start the morning, and it's pleasant downtown with the sunshine. Thank you, Devin. 63 degrees. Just got to look at our teacher tribute wall winner, which we'll announce next hour, and look forward to sharing some of the information.
She looks wonderful, doesn't she?
She really does.
Can we just say she's from West Haven?
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
There's a little hint. And in the next hour, we're going to be talking with our friends from Cypress Credit Union, who, of course, are great partners with our Teacher Tribute Wall. You can find at kslnewsradio.com/teacher.
And they do so much to help and to support teachers. I mean, they just finished the Granite Teacher Appreciation Fair, and they do this other thing, which we'll learn more about next hour. But this is what Cypress Credit Union does. They have the Smart Start Teacher Summit coming up in June, and they support that.
And they put a lot of their own money behind all of these efforts to make sure that your kids are even financially literate as they go through school. And so many fun things that they do with the kids, too. But here's what's great. Each of these teachers that we draw randomly at the end of the month get some nice prizes, a $500 Visa gift card, $250 gift card from Harmon's. That $500 Visa gift card, by the way, comes from Cypress. And we throw in season tickets to Hell Center Theater.
Isn't that brilliant? So stay with us, because next hour we'll meet our Teacher of the Month.
You can go to kslnewsradio.com/teacher to nominate one in your life.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hugs from patients, like Patrick. It's something QC Kinetics medical professionals experience every day.
I hugged them. You should hug somebody who does that for you. They gave me my life back, and I really didn't know where I was going to go because I was definitely afraid of having a knee replacement done.
No surgery, no downtime with QC Kinetics regenerative treatments. They give patients relief from joint pain using their own healing properties to repair and restore damaged tissue. And the results? Well, that's why we see a lot of hugs at QC Kinetics.
Everything is back that I thought I was never going to be able to do again. I'm still smiling, and sometimes it gets emotional. I get a tear in my eye because of how I was before I went in there.
Those smiles and hugs never get old at QC Kinetics. It means patients are finally getting relief. And now, it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation and see if you're a good candidate for these amazing treatments.
Call QC Kinetics, 385-766-1987. That's 385-766-1987. 385-766-1987.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. T-Mobile picking up over 4 million new customers as part of a deal to buy out U.S. Cellular. The $4.4 billion deal includes a chunk of U.S. Cellular's debt. The Wall Street Journal reports that deal will close next year.
Markets are mixed in early trading. The Dow is off 121. That's 0.3%. We're at 38,948. S&P is off 0.7. The Nasdaq is up 34. That's 0.2%.
We're getting a little bit better with that problem up there near Shepherd Lane. We'll get the latest going through Farmington this morning when we check your emergency traffic next.
I'm Jason Walton, the only Republican political outsider running for the United States Senate. Are you tired of paying more but getting less? Food, gas, interest rates, they've all gone up. Sending more career politicians to Washington is not the solution. They're the problem. They're addicted to spending money we don't have on things we don't need. They're causing inflation as the federal debt goes up and the value of our money goes down. My opponents are big spending career politicians. Trent Staggs, 11 years politicking. Brad Wilson, 14 years. And John Curtis, as a Democrat, began 24 years ago. I'll stop runaway inflation by forcing politicians to spend only what we give them by passing a balanced budget amendment within 2 terms, or I won't run for re-election. If the other candidates won't make you that promise, then they care more about their careers than about our country. I'm Jason Walton, a candidate for the United States Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Friends of Jason Walton for Senate.
Tonight on NBC, summer's #1 show is back. America's Got Talent.
Are you ready?
With all the drama.
$1 million on the line.
All the emotion.
It would have been easier for me to give up, but I just can't do it.
And even more life-changing golden buzzers.
You know what's going to happen right now? This.
Join Terry, Simon, Howie, Heidi, and Sofia Vergara. The new season of America's Got Talent premieres tonight on NBC.
Tonight on KSL, you know what these street signs mean. Others not always obvious.
I don't know which one applies to where.
Confusing signs leading to unrighteous towing on Utah streets.
Go outside, my car's gone.
Who's responsible?
I didn't know where else to go, and I just wanted to contact you to see what you could do.
KSL's Matt Gephardt uncovers ways you can fight back when your car is hooked.
The signs have to be clear, and they have to be consistent.
Get Gephardt to know before you're towed. Tonight at 10.
Dear class of 2024, you're donning caps and gowns just as things reach a tipping point. War overseas, protests, artificial intelligence. It seems like a lot, but you're just the kind of people to build a new sense of hope. Congratulations, graduates. Make the world proud. And better. A message of hope for the future from your friends at KSL News Radio.
7:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. And back over to you, Andy.
Well, good news, bad news. The good news is they just cleared the crash on southbound 15. All lanes now open, going from Kaysville to Farmington. But the delays still stretch back to Hillfield Road in Layton. So it's going to be a long, long wait. If you live west of the freeway in Layton or Kaysville, go over to the West Davis corridor instead. If you live east of the freeway, maybe go over to Highway 89. We've got some slowing now on Legacy going south from the Parish Lane in Centerville down into West Bountiful. I think some people maybe took that route as well. Heather?
Northbound I-15 has your biggest delays in the Salt Lake Valley. They stretch from the point of the mountain all the way to I-80 East Interchange in South Salt Lake. And we've had a couple of crashes called out through that entire stretch as well, but they've all either been moved off the freeway completely or to a shoulder. Eric?
Northbound I-15 in Provo, you've got a lot of delays. They did clear the crash. At least they've moved it away from the HOV lane. It was over up against the left barrier. Now it's off the road, but they did have to stop traffic for that. So the delays are stretching back over to Springville for the moment. We'll see if it can improve pretty quickly. Hogle Zoo has so much to explore, and now there's even more to love. The all-new Eileen W. Skaggs Wild Utah exhibit and the Eccles Express train are now open at Hogle Zoo. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
88 for a high. Devin just told us that'll be the warmest day of the year. Slight chance of rain, 10% through the afternoon. And right now it's fair skies, 63 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
Today could be the final day of testimony in the trial of Chad Daybell in Idaho.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is in Boise and joins us live with what we can expect today. Adam?
Well, Amanda, the defense has already rested their case, and the prosecution could soon follow suit. We know we're expecting to hear 2 rebuttal witnesses for the prosecution, likely a Rexburg police detective and a former co-worker of Chad's late wife, Tammy Daybell. But unless they ask the judge to call more witnesses, they will likely rest their case, putting us in closing arguments in the coming days, with the jury getting the case right after that. Chad is charged with multiple counts of murder and conspiracy in Tammy's death, as well as his current wife's 2 youngest kids, JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. He faces the death penalty if he's convicted. Be in the courtroom, keeping you updated throughout the week. Live in Boise, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
If you'd like to catch up on the trial, the latest is available on our website, kslnewsradio.com.
A man is in police custody after being accused of targeting an officer with his truck. It comes less than a month after a man allegedly killed Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hoosier with a semi-truck. Here's KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston live with more information. Peter?
Yeah, Tim, I'm here at the cross streets of East Helm Street and 3rd East in South Salt Lake, where officers say they were trying to stop a suspect who intentionally targeted one of them. An arresting document in the latest incident Friday says officers were trying to arrest parolee Tyson Yellowbear, and they saw him get in a truck here as they approached the parking lot. One officer allegedly threw out a spike strip to stop the suspect, but then police say the suspect turned toward that officer and hit the gas pedal. He allegedly went over the hood and hit the ground hard enough to cut his radio. Now, the Unified Police Department does tell KSL News Radio that officer and another officer who got injured after ramming his own car into the truck went to the hospital but left the same day. Reporting live from South Salt Lake, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Police in Sandy are still searching for suspected robbers after a wild car chase this weekend. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with more. Michael?
Amanda, this all happened yesterday afternoon when police responded to a scene near State Street and 106 South. They learned the victims began pursuing the robbers in their own car, and at one point a robber pulled a gun and began shooting at their pursuers. Police say somewhere during this chase, the victims crashed and slid across a sidewalk near Jordan High School. Nobody was injured, and police are still searching for the suspects. Additionally, they're reminding everyone to never take things into your own hands if you're robbed. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Closing arguments are underway now in the trial of former President Donald Trump. The defense is expected to attack the credibility of his former lawyer, Michael Cohen. Adam Schlett is the director of the Brendan Moore Trial Advocacy Center at the Fordham University School of Law.
They don't need to prove the underlying crime. They just need to prove that when they were falsifying the business records, they were doing that in order to, with the intent to cover up that other crime.
Prosecutors will look to recap corroborating evidence showing Trump falsified business records to cover up the payments in the run-up to the 2016 election.
An American man detained in the Caribbean for months because of ammunition in his luggage is back home and speaking exclusively to ABC's Good Morning America. Brian Hagerich says having the ammo in his bags was an accident.
He was in Turks and Caicos for more than 3 months while awaiting sentencing. He and his wife walked into court Friday to learn his fate.
Everything was about to start. To give Ashley what could have potentially been the last hug and last kiss that we get to share together for a very long time. It hurt so bad, so bad.
But a judge granted Brian a suspended sentence, essentially saying a 12-year punishment did not fit his crime.
ABC's Rhiannon Alley reporting Hagerich arrived back home in Pennsylvania late Friday night after paying a $6,700 fine.
Boy, still slow going in Kaysville right now. Let's get that first look traffic with Andy.
Yeah, South 15 still hugely backed up going from Layton all the way into Farmington. But the crash that caused the delay is gone, so we'll see how this slowdown sort of stretches out over a greater distance. We do have some slowing on Legacy in Centerville. North 15 slow in several spots through the Salt Lake Valley, Bluffdale, Midvale, and especially in South Salt Lake. SR 201, after being clear for a while, is now seeing backups coming out of West Valley. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A young boy from Beaver, Utah is getting worldwide support after nearly drowning last week. KSL TV's Brittany Tate met with family spokeswoman Mindy Clark.
The world knows about him. Something family says. He's brought community together. He's made non-believers believers just in these little blips of hope. Is nothing short of a miracle. Regardless of the outcome, and we know what we're facing, he's special. He's such a special spirit, and we are so blessed to know him.
Levi is recovering on a ventilator. He was sedated for safety reasons after waking up a few nights ago.
10% of parents in Utah report their child having ADHD. With the increasing diagnosis, it's been harder to find medication. Pharmacy director for the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, Anthony May, says the shortage may be a combination of a few things.
So there's a lot of suspicion that, those increased telehealth visits and more flexible prescribing patterns led to a lot more demand for these stimulant medications.
May says even if the shortage is easing up, it's important to communicate with your doctor for alternative medications before you run out.
Summertime often means increased food insecurity. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson tells us why.
Summertime is sometimes known as the hungriest season because kids no longer have school breakfast or lunch to rely on. President and CEO of the Utah Food Bank, Jeanette Bott, says this season there will be even more food insecurity because of our current economy.
Numbers, I think, are coming up because of challenges that we're all seeing with affordable housing or affordable daycare.
Bott says any kind of donation, be it time, money, or food, is helpful during this time of increased need. She also encourages families to be proactive in finding local food pantries and schools that are offering summer feeding programs. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Just want to give a quick shout out to Skyline High School in Salt Lake City, the state's top-ranked traditional high school. U.S. News and World Report ranks Skyline 97.1 out of 100. The ranking system looked at graduation rates, the AP exams offered, and the number of students who passed those exams.
A couple of crashes have been cleared, but the delays are still there. Northbound I-15 in Provo and southbound 15 from Kaysville to Farmington. We'll check traffic and weather coming up next.
KSL in the palm of your hand.
When the app came out, I knew that I could stream the radio station directly through there.
I just checked there to see if there's anything pertinent.
I regularly use the KSL app.
Get the app for KSL News Radio.
My name is Case Lawrence, and I'm running for Congress. The chaos at our southern border is a national emergency. We can fix the border, but not with politicians who are more worried about their own political future than America's future. I'm not a politician. I'm a problem solver. I hope you'll join me. I'm Case Lawrence, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Case for Congress.
Norwegian Cruise Line's Memorial Day sale is back. Book today and get 70% off second guest on vacations to incredible destinations like Europe, Alaska, and Hawaii. Wake up in a new destination nearly every day and enjoy free unlimited open bar, specialty dining, and more. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. This offer ends May 31st. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA. Restrictions apply.
The rest of my life gonna start today.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
Check out AMCO's multiple financing options so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
We still have emergency traffic out there, so let's get traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. That is just slow to clear, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty rough for traffic that's been heading south through Davis County this morning. It's backed up still from basically Hillsfield Roads exit all the way down past 200 North in Kaysville. Now some slowing creeping in on I-15 closer to Parish Lane, and it's been slow on Legacy through Parish Lane for a little while now coming out of Davis. If you're heading down Highway 89, that's still a good alternate route if you live on the east side of I-15. Heather?
Traffic is starting to move a little faster now northbound I-15 through Salt Lake Valley, but you're still well under the posted speed limit between the point of the mountain all the way up to South Salt Lake near the I-80 East turnoff. The 201 freeway also a bit at a crawl between Mountain View Corridor and the West Side Belt, but the city streets in the valley seem to be easing up a bit. Eric?
Our slowest spot in Utah County northbound I-15 going from 1400 North in Springville up to a crash just before Center Street that has been cleared, but they did stop traffic to get that crash from the left side to the right side of the road, and that did have an effect on the flow. You've also got northbound slowing on Redwood Road from Camp Williams up to Porter Rockwell if you're in the north part of the county. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
From a warm Memorial Day to a hot Tuesday, temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s with mostly sunny skies and an isolated shower and storm chance in the higher terrain of northern Utah. A cold front will move through on Wednesday, so it'll drop temperatures to the upper 70s on Wednesday, bottoming out in the low 70s Thursday. With that cold front Wednesday afternoon and evening, a few showers will be possible with an isolated storm. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mishuli.
It is beautiful out there. Sunny blue skies and 64 degrees.
We're talking this morning about how parents of young children are being hit maybe the hardest by inflation right now. Their family budgets are in trouble. More with Debbie Dujanovic just ahead on KSL.
Stay with us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails with feedback from customers. Here's one. Dear Dan, I just had the best experience ever. I bought a computer from Shane at your State Street store. I asked several what I thought were really stupid questions. Shane was super courteous and made me feel comfortable through the whole process. People need to understand how important it is to support a local company, especially when your experience is so good. PC Laptops really does love me. Signed, Satisfied. I love hearing feedback like that. It really just gives me the chills. It's the whole reason why I got into the computer business in the first place. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop, and they start at only $29 a month. And it comes with a lifetime warranty. That means if anything goes wrong, we're going to take care of you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. At PC Laptops, we really do love you.
Achieving the extraordinary. Getting things done. That's the Utah way. And that's Brad Wilson. He delivered the biggest tax cut Utah's ever seen, keeping more money in your pocket. And on the Second Amendment, when others caved, Brad Wilson stood tall, enacted constitutional carry. Wilson stood up to the EPA, sued Joe Biden to protect Utah's energy industry, and won. And when others backed down on illegal immigration, Wilson didn't buckle. He banned sanctuary cities. In the U.S. Senate, he'd bring the Utah way to Washington, taking Joe Biden's agenda head on. That's why over 60 mayors, 22 sheriffs, and leading conservatives across Utah are supporting Brad Wilson for U.S. Senate, because Brad Wilson's the tested, trusted Utah conservative for U.S. Senate. Join them and thousands more supporting Brad Wilson at electbradwilson.com.
I'm Brad Wilson, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Wilson for Senate.
You know, Deb, you and I have had this conversation so many times. We think, I wish I had a little more light here or maybe a ceiling fan there.
That's why we love Master Electrical. So anytime we have an electrical problem, we know we can call them and they will give us their upfront pricing guarantee.
Because we're not going to do it yourself. We're going to leave it to the professionals. And this upfront pricing guarantee is fantastic. I'm sure you've been bitten by bids in the past where they say, that's going to take half a day. And then 2 weeks later, the bid and the invoice have nothing to do with each other.
Not only will you get their upfront pricing guarantee, but you will never see an upcharge. Their pricing system simply won't allow it.
Master Electrical proudly serves from Logan to Santaquin.
They do everything that has to do with electrical, and they're always open, including for emergency services. The phone number to call is 801-543-2222.
801-543-2222, or check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 8:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
summer is known as the hungriest season because kids don't have school meals to rely on. Any help given to the Utah Food Bank will go a long way to fight hunger. I'm KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson.
Second, soap opera star Johnny Wachter was killed this weekend after police say he was shot while trying to stop robbers from stealing the catalytic converter off his car.
Third, let's check the drive with traffic and weather together.
I-15 southbound still backed up Layton through Kaysville from an earlier crash. North 15 still having some issues through Bluffdale and Murray as you head towards Salt Lake City. And the 201 freeway backed up approaching Redwood Road. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Tracking the warmest day of the year so far, I'm Devin Mishuli.
Right now, 64 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Donald Trump's defense making closing arguments as we speak in New York. Let's check in with ABC News.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Depending on how long deliberations take, this could be the final week in Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial in New York. Closing arguments are now underway. Before heading into the courtroom, the former president said once again in the hallway outside,
"We'll see how it goes. This is a very dangerous day for America. It's a very sad day."
The key witness in the case, Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, whose testimony is the subject of the defense's arguments, according to legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer.
Not only finding out that he's a liar, but also that he allegedly stole to the tune of $30,000 from Donald Trump. And just the way the defense attacked his credibility. That stood out the most to me. I think that's going to stand out the most to the jury to see whether or not the evidence that the prosecutors brought forward supported what Michael Cohen said, or whether or not his credibility is going to make him lose his case for them.
Children Tiffany Trump, Eric Trump, and Donald Trump Jr. are all in the courtroom today. Israeli forces continuing airstrikes in Rafah, even after one that killed at least 50 Palestinians over the weekend, according to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry. ABC's Britt Clennett is in Tel Aviv.
Condemnation is growing following Israel's strike in western Rafah that set fire to a refugee camp, killing dozens of people. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu admitted there was a technical failure. He called it a tragic mishap, saying that Israel is investigating the bombing that targeted two senior Hamas leaders. Now, horrifying images from the scene show a burning inferno, people frantically trying to douse the flames and pull survivors out of the blaze.
Hundreds were injured, including many who were burned. They lost everything in a twister that hit Valley View, Texas on Monday.
Thought of having to rebuild it all again. I mean, I don't know if we've got the energy to do it.
Lisa Smith and her husband Todd glad to be alive. 22 people in all lost their lives in storms that spread from coast to coast over the Memorial Day weekend. Checking the markets following the three-day weekend, the Dow is down 145 points. You're listening to ABC News.
One of the stories we've been talking about this morning on the financial side of things is how parents of young kids are just struggling right now with their family budgets. Deb, it's something I know you're going to look into.
Yeah, they're drowning. I mean, they blame inflation for part of that, but there's other factors at work here. Part of it, too, is that that child tax credit that they were getting during the pandemic of $250 or $300 a month. Instead of collecting it in April when they filed their taxes, the government was giving them in increments. That really worked. It really worked in terms of easing people's minds, who had children under the age of 18. Well, that went away, and it hasn't come back. Despite some pitches back in D.C. to bring it back, it just hasn't gone anywhere. But there's a lot of other things that are going on here, too, and that is childcare, you guys, is just out of control. I was just looking up some data in the newsroom before I ran in here, and it's like $16,000 a year in Utah for two children under the age of 6 years old. And I fear that this is only going to get worse as I'm looking into some new reports that are coming out. I'm going to tell you why during the Dave and Dujanovic Show.
All right, we'll look forward to it as we always do. Top of the hour, 9 o'clock here on KSL News Radio.
8:19, traffic and weather together. It's emergency traffic brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy?
Amanda, the delays are starting to improve at the south end of Kaysville, but we still have a really thick stretch of backup from Layton Hills Mall in Davis County all the way down to 200 North in Kaysville. This is left over from an earlier crash we had. Some of the delay is shifted south into Centerville, where we've got some slowing on I-15 right before Parish Lane, and we've been slow on Legacy from Farmington to Centerville for a little while now. Heather?
The delays are breaking up on northbound I-15 in the Salt Lake Valley, but you will hit the brakes off and on between Point of the Mountain all the way to the I-80 East interchange in South Salt Lake. The 201 freeway also still a bit at a crawl as you head east from Mountain View Corridor over to the West Side Belt, but the other city streets in the Salt Lake Valley are looking really good right now with no accidents reported. Eric?
If you're in Utah County, I-15 is looking better northbound through Provo. We did have a crash just before Center Street that was causing plenty of backups. Now you've got it broken up into two reduced speed sections, let's put it that way. 1400 North and Orem up to University Avenue, and then another patch as you go into the S-curves. The rest of I-15 in Utah County looks good, but you got typical slowing eastbound on 2100 North from Redwood Road over to the freeway. Use Superior Water and Air for all your HVAC and plumbing needs. Call 974-9090 or visit superiorwaterandair.com. Superior Water and Air. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
The 7-day forecast features a lot of dry time, but we do have a few rain chances to mention. This Tuesday afternoon, an isolated shower and storm in the higher terrain in northern Utah will be possible. Then on Wednesday, when a cold front moves through, we have a few shower chances in northern Utah with an isolated thunderstorm possible. Then we dry out for the remainder of the work week. Temperatures today, warmest of the year in the upper 80s. We fall into the upper 70s on Wednesday, low 70s Thursday. Then we're back into the 80s as we close out the work week and start the month of June. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mishuli.
Says fair, but I think it's better than fair out there right now. It's sunny skies and 64 degrees. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive, Bountiful.
I know going back to work after a long weekend can be rough, and that traffic is not making it any easier.
No.
Sorry for folks who are stuck in that backup this morning. Hopefully that'll ease out here in the near future. We'll have another report for you coming up on KSL.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Cypress Credit Union. Matter of fact, it's time to find out who our teacher winner is for the month of May. So you want to do the honors?
Sure. It's Mrs. Savannah Shaw from Quest Academy Charter School in West Haven. Savannah, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good
Oh,
morning.
I want to say congratulations and tell you just for a minute what this lovely mother of one of your students, Ashley Gale, said about you. She said, Mrs. Shaw is an incredible teacher. Not only is she patient and kind, but she is actively engaged in ensuring each child's success. I have loved watching my son blossom during his time in her class this year.
I understand you may be a French teacher. Is that right?
I am not a French teacher. I majored in that or minored in that in college, and so I like to sprinkle a little bit of that goodness wherever I go. But no, I just teach 5th grade. I teach math and ELA and science and social studies. So the French is just an added bonus for my students.
Fun. Another thing that the mom said about you, and this really stopped me. She said, my son regularly talks about his wonderful teacher at home, and I know she will be one, if not the only, memorable teachers that he will remember throughout his life. That must feel good to read.
Those are powerful words and certainly big ones to live up to, but I try to. These kids are remarkable and amazing, and if Team Shaw is listening, you are capable of amazing things. So,
tell us about your school just a little bit.
Sorry, one more time.
I was just asking to tell us a little bit more about Quest Academy.
Oh, yes. So we are a charter school in West Haven, Utah, and we really focus on personalized learning. And we're just all about the kids here. We have a lot of fun together, and I work with remarkable educators, and the kids here are just amazing. So we love coming to school, and we love working together.
What grades do you have there? Because you said you teach 5th grade.
Yes, so we have one campus, but 2 buildings. So there's kinder through 5th grade in our elementary school, and then we have 6th grade through 9th grade for our junior high.
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm sure somebody has told you, but you got some nice prizes to come along with this honor, and it starts with a $500 Visa gift card from our friends at Cypress Credit Union, $250 from Harmon's, and we're going to throw in season tickets to Hell Center Theater.
That's so awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Shaw, I hope you have a great last little bit of school, and thank you for the work you do.
Thank you so much for your support.
Amanda Morton's going to join us from Cypress coming up in the next half hour. But if you've got a teacher that you would like to nominate, just go to kslnewsradio.com/teacher.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Paid for by the Lyman for Utah Committee.
In recent years, we've seen the legislature cut the income tax rate marginally. Yet income tax revenue continues to climb dramatically. If we really want to help people, we could cut the income tax rate more dramatically. Cut it in half, cut it by 80%, and still pay the bills if we would optimize, minimize, privatize state services. As your governor, that's what I'm committed to do. I'm Phil Lyman, and I'm running for governor.
Phil Lyman for governor.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Up to half of all credit reports could have mistakes, meaning a potential impact to credit scores. Consumer Reports and Work Money scrutinized the credit reports of more than 4,000 volunteers. 44% had errors. More than a quarter of those damaged their credit scores.
Wow. Retailers are offering some big summer sales in hopes that you'll be more likely to spend some cash in spite of inflation. We told you about Target a week ago that they're going to mark down 5,000 items. Walmart's also doing it. Some other big box stores have chimed in here with some big price cuts. They're telling us mostly in the grocery section.
If you do want to splurge, restaurant chains are ready to help you out. It's National Hamburger Day. Burger King is offering a free burger with purchase of pretty much anything else. Wendy's is offering a junior bacon cheeseburger for $1, and dozens of other chains have similar offers.
Markets continue to be mixed this morning, and it's the Dow that's in the red. It's off 133, which is about 0.3%. The S&P is, for all intents and purposes, flat. No gain, no loss there. And the NASDAQ is up about 60 points.
Looks like the worst spot on the freeways right now is still southbound I-15 between Layton and Kaysville. We'll check that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
We're just talking about great teachers. And if you have a child that has had great teachers but still kind of struggled with the structure of what has become a one-size-fits-all kind of education plan, we've got some great news for you from Mountain Heights Academy.
Have you heard about Mountain Heights Academy? This is just an extraordinary school. It's a public school. It's tuition-free, accredited public school. It's for Utah students grades 7 through 12. It is entirely online, and it started doing online education, years before the pandemic hit. This is just something they've perfected for students who need a little flexibility.
Yeah, and my grandson, he's smart as a whip, but he just cannot deal with distractions.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, in a big classroom setting with 30 other kids. But at Mountain Heights Academy, they actually offer this flexibility that will let students decide what time, what place, and the pace of their learning, which I think makes a big difference.
For any number of reasons, and sometimes it's health. Sometimes a student has a health issue that keeps them from being able to physically go to school as often, but they don't fall behind in their education because of Mountain Heights Academy.
Oh, and by the way, you can think of it even if you just have some classes that you need to make up.
Yeah, for part-time.
Part-time, and decide when you can do it best, if you're working or if you're involved in sports or anything else. And by the way, the social side of this is still taken care of with field trips, proms, special projects, and even clubs they can be involved with.
Find out more about whether this might be right for your student. Go to mountainheightsacademy.org.
Dear class of 2024, you're donning caps and gowns just as things reach a tipping point. War overseas, protests, artificial intelligence. It seems like a lot, but you're just the kind of people to build a new sense of hope. Congratulations, graduates. Make the world proud. And better. A message of hope for the future from your friends at KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time 8:29, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. I think we just witnessed a little fender bender there on northbound I-15, Andy.
Yeah, we got something over to the left shoulder just near the 3900 South overpass in South Salt Lake, and there's still somebody sitting in the HOV lane at a stop. Well, now they're moving. Nevertheless, a crash in South Salt Lake has traffic back to 215 again. We also have a crash, or had one, on eastbound 201 at 3200 West. Looks like they've pulled that off the freeway, but we still have slowing on 201 from Mountain View over to 3200 West. Heather?
And the crash southbound I-15 that was in Farmington has cleared. You still have a little bit of a brake light showing up as you make your way through the Layton area, but that is quickly returning to speed. Now, it looks like a lot of people decided to transition onto Legacy Parkway, and so we have quite a bit of slowdowns between Farmington and the Bountiful area if you're taking Legacy. But if you stick to I-15, you'll also have brake lights between Woods Cross and downtown Salt Lake. Eric?
Out in Utah County, things are a little bit better now. Northbound 15 from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain, that's pretty much a 24-minute drive. That's normal. If you're heading over to the freeway, you've got slowdowns on 2100 north from Redwood Road over to the freeway. Out in Tooele County, it's a lot better now as you go through Lake Point, getting onto I-80. Thriller is back. See your favorite characters in the smash hit Halloween performance this fall. Buy now, scare later. Don't miss out. Tickets to Thriller on sale now at odysseydance.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's going to be hot today. The warmest day of the year. We'll get up to the upper 80s, about 88 for a high, 79 tomorrow. Right now, 64 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 8:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
A BYU alum running for Senate in Missouri has recruited the man behind Evan McMullen's 2016 presidential campaign.
He's running as a candidate for the political party he helped start this month. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has the story.
Jared Young says he's running as a member of the Better Party.
These politicians aren't necessarily bad people. They're just caught in a system where the incentives are all wrong. If we want things to change, we need people representing us who are not required to play the game.
Now, Evan McMullen presidential campaign manager Joel Searby says he's helping Young because he has, quote, strong character plus skin in the game. Young has loaned the campaign almost $250,000, and he's also the person who launched the Better Party. The party's website says it exists to lower barriers for independent candidates in Missouri to get on the ballot. Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Utah Senator Mike Lee was heckled and met with boos at the National Libertarian Convention. We get that story from KSL News Radio's Michael Commit.
Both Senator Lee and former President Donald Trump spoke at this convention, and Senator Lee even made a pitch for the former president at the close of his speech.
Donald Trump may not agree with you on everything, but I can tell you he will agree with you a whole hell of a lot more than that nutball in the White House or anybody else on the ticket.
Senator Lee was then booed when he asked the audience to support Donald Trump and, quote, restore the Constitution. On X, he posts the hecklers were paid agitators, and the majority of libertarians were supportive of Trump. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Police are searching for possible arsonists after a 100-year-old church burned down this weekend. It used to serve as a meeting house for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Local resident Amy Luter says there have been issues there before when people tried to break into the church.
Police have had to take out big groups of people with all their stuff several times.
2 people were inside the building when the fire first broke out. They were treated for minor smoke inhalation.
Police say a resident of a Sandy homeless shelter is under arrest on suspicion of murder.
Sandy police, according to a probable cause statement, gathered enough evidence, including timeline video surveillance and a fanny pack-style bag covered with blood, to arrest that suspect, 60-year-old Laura Northrup. She faces charges of suspicion of murder in the death of a roommate, Stephanie Lynn Hackett Carrasco, whose body was discovered by a third roommate early on Sunday. The 3 women were living at the Medically Vulnerable People Program facility at 8955 South, 255 West in Sandy, formerly an Econo Lodge. Provides housing and medical care to seniors, veterans, and the medically frail who are experiencing homelessness. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories now. The holiday weekend was bombarded by violent weather that has claimed nearly 24 lives. Between Friday and Monday, more than 1,300 severe weather alerts were issued between Texas and New York.
We're in it. Some of the most remarkable and terrifying audio to come out of the weekend storms was captured inside a Cadillac SUV.
I thought we were coming off the ground.
Valina Gill and her friend came face to face with a tornado in Cook County, Texas.
That's when I really freaked.
The SUV held the road and now is sandblasted on one side.
Windows cracked from the debris.
After the wind died, Valina Gill and Brenda Proctor Dance realized
we're very lucky to be alive.
Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Jim joined us last hour to tell us the story of Todd and Lisa Smith, who are trying to pick up the pieces in Valley View, Texas, after a tornado destroyed their home and barns there. The Smiths lost a horse and some other animals.
We got each other, and there's families right over there that don't have that.
200 other homes and structures were affected.
First look traffic now. Any better at all, Andy?
It depends on where you are. It is a little bit better going south through Kaysville than it was earlier, but we've got a lot of stop and go in Farmington on I-15 and on Highway 89 merging onto Legacy Parkway. We've also got northbound delays because of a crash and looks like maybe some debris between the HOV and left lane at 3900 South. That slowdown goes all the way back to 215. We've got some delays between Bluffdale and Draper and some slowing on North 15 coming up in Pleasant Grove. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scientists from the University of Utah have discovered what they call rare earth minerals in eastern Utah coal mines.
There is some real potential here in terms of the resource.
University of Utah Associate Professor Laura Bergenheyer says they have found these minerals above and below coal seams in eastern Utah and western Colorado.
There's been some previous work, especially in the Appalachian region, that shows that those resources are there. But there was really no investigation across Utah and western Colorado. So that's sort of what prompted us to look at active coal mines across Utah and Colorado.
The next phase of study will be to see how much material is available in these mines. Bergenheyer says the cooperation of these active mines was critical in being able to find these minerals. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Real Salt Lake's unbeaten streak continues. The team went 3-3 in a draw this weekend against FC Dallas. They were down 3-0 in the second half when they made a quick comeback. This is the team's 11th straight game without a loss.
They have been on a roll. NBA greats are remembering basketball legend and champion Bill Walton. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimberg.
Tributes pouring in from across the NBA. Steph Curry saying he always brought the best energy and humanity to every room he walked into. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar saying he wasn't happy unless he did everything he could to make everyone around him happy. Walton died after a long battle with cancer. He was 71.
He's known as much for what he does off the court, his personality, as anything. Dave Patch, who was his play-by-play partner, said that Bill would text me during games I was broadcasting and pretend he didn't know I was doing it, and he shared a couple of texts. One says from Bill Walton, "I hope you're watching the Knicks-Cavs game. Superb. Check it out. Still time. Hopefully the announcer will reset the scene for you." Enjoy.
Funny.
And he lists several others. If you get a chance to look it up on X, it's funny.
That's funny. Well, the Paris Summer Olympic Games are really just around the corner, and Olympic athlete mental health is being given a spotlight.
Stress, anxiety, and frustration are common emotions an Olympic athlete may feel leading up to the Games, but something commonly felt after the competition is grief.
A lot of people only assume that you can grieve if there is some sort of death loss, and that is simply not the case. And for an Olympic athlete, the end of the Olympics, there's really only one winner. There's one person that gets that, or one team that gets that top spot.
Sports psychologist Dr. Natasha Trujillo says the best way to handle grief is to be patient and talk through your feelings. Alessandra Gurr, KSL News Radio.
Well, the most recent freeway crash, northbound I-15 in Murray, has been moved up against the left barrier now, but still causing some slowdowns. We'll check traffic and weather together just ahead.
Spend your workday with a talk show that makes you feel better about the news.
Debbie is the voice of reason, and Dave reminds me of my little brother. Well-spoken, and they're a great team together.
Dave and Debbie, live from 9 to noon, or podcast the show on the app for KSL News Radio.
You need to meet my aunt. Her name is Rochelle Morris, and she's running for Salt Lake County Council. She's super smart, and she really cares about people. She wants Salt Lake County to be a great place for kids. That means safe parks, safe streets, good rec centers, and making sure taxes go down instead of up. Go to voterochellemorris.com to learn more.
Thanks, Zoe and Tilly. I'm Rochelle Morris, and I'm running to make Salt Lake County work better for all of us. With my background in managing money in the private sector, I'm committed to cutting waste, holding the county accountable, and maximizing and protecting your tax dollars for you. Together, we can ensure Salt Lake County is a great place to live for many years to come. I'm Rochelle Morris, and I approve this message. Learn more at voterochellemorris.com.
That's voterochellemorris.com.
Paid for by Rochelle Morris for Salt Lake County Council.
Revere Health is dedicated to making healthcare easier and more accessible by offering the latest technologies to improve the patient experience. We offer convenient telehealth appointments so you can receive care from the comfort of your own home. We also offer an online patient portal called Follow My Health that enables you to manage your healthcare online. When you download the Follow My Health app, you can exchange direct messages with your doctor, view lab and test results as soon as they are available, renew prescriptions, and review upcoming appointments. If you're ready to schedule your annual physical for 2024, we've made that easier too. Revere Health now offers the ability to schedule appointments online for primary care and select specialties. Visit our website at reverehealth.com to learn more or to schedule your next appointment online. Through these convenient solutions, Revere Health demonstrates its commitment to quality, patient-centric care every day. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life.
If you've been monitoring the Donald Trump trial in New York over the past couple of weeks, he's had supporters that have come to a podium outside of the courthouse there in New York to say certain things. Today, it's those in support of Joe Biden that are doing that, and it's interesting. Right now, while Trump's defense is making closing arguments, Robert De Niro is among those that step to the microphone, and he has been one of the bigger names and faces out there that has been leading the charge against Donald Trump for a while. We'll continue to monitor the situation and have the latest from ABC coming up in about 5 minutes.
8:39, traffic and weather together brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Andy?
North 15 continues to see backups from Midvale, 7200 South, up into South Salt Lake near the 3900 South overpass. They may have gotten the debris out of the HOV in the left lane, but the crash is still over on the left shoulder right before the overpass, so that's why we still have that slowing. Plus, delays from the Bluffdale to Bangor Highway exits on 201. Traffic still heavy from 56 west to Bangor, but not slow like it was 10, 15 minutes ago. Heather?
Our biggest delays in Davis County are actually on Legacy Parkway. It's for people who transition from US 89 to go southbound Legacy. They may have been using that as an alternate when we had really big delays on I-15. Now, you still have some slowing on I-15 around 200 North in Kaysville, as well as between Farmington, Centerville, and into downtown Salt Lake City, but nothing unusual on that stretch of I-15. Eric?
I-80 through Parley's Canyon looks good once you go past the Kimball Junction exit. You got some typical brake tapping as you approach the Silver Creek area if you're intending on using US 40 and going south towards Heber. Northbound from Heber City, a little bit of slowdowns at that River Road intersection before you get to Jordanelle Reservoir. I-15 Utah County all cleared up right now as you head through Provo. When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing selection. 4 locations: Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Truck Country. See it all at performancebountiful.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
After a beautiful Memorial Day with plenty of sunshine and highs near 80, we are turning up the heat on this Tuesday. We're starting off in the mid-50s, and highs today will top out in the upper 80s, which will mark this the warmest day of the year so far. We do have an isolated shower chance mainly in northern Utah on the higher terrain. If a shower does develop over the valley, could just produce some gusty winds. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mashuli.
And right now, 68 degrees in Salt Lake City.
We're going to speak with Greg Skordas, a KSL legal analyst, in just a moment about the wrapping up this week of the Chad Daybell trial. More on that just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Look for us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. This hour of Utah's Morning News is brought to you by Cypress Credit Union. Sorry about that. Amanda Morton, I think, is with us this morning. Amanda, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
We are doing so great. It was wonderful to get to honor that terrific teacher, Savannah Shaw. I know most schools are wrapping up, and you were just where? You were at the Granite Teacher Appreciation Fair?
Yes. So here at the end of the school year, we spend so much time just doing all the appreciation that we can for teachers. And one thing in particular was the Granite Teacher Appreciation Fair. It's this really fun gathering where they have all these booths for teachers to come, and they basically get to do kind of a clean out of the warehouse of any supplies that were left over from the year, and they just get to take them for free and start planning for the next year.
Well, I think you were also handing out $100 gift cards, weren't you?
We were, yes. We were able to give out $100 gift cards just to surprise teachers that day.
And you're also going to be in July with the First Lady, is that right?
Yes, so every July, First Lady Abby Cox has her Show Up for Teachers event. And so, what this is everyone who wants to support teachers can come to this event at the Expo Center, and we just give back to them every way that we can. So, and then we'll be doing a similar thing with charter schools at the end of July. But this event is incredible. It's literally all these businesses and all these community partners just wanting to give something back to the teachers, and the teachers actually get continuing education credits while they're there. So it's a really fun event.
You know, it's funny. We just assume, I think, that when the closing bell rings at the end of the school year that the work is done, but you're here to tell us it's always going on, right?
That is right. Yeah. So at the summer, we take all the feedback that we got throughout the school year from all of our teachers and our partners, and we go back and we review and we revamp all of our resources and all of our classes so that we have fresh stuff to bring the following year. And really, we're just grateful for all the feedback that we get, because we want to make sure that we're delivering the best that we possibly can in the classrooms.
And then in August, you're back at it.
That's right. So then in August, we always work with all of the first year teachers. So doing some special things for them, everything from, actually, I shouldn't give away the secrets for this year. So we'll be doing a lot of fun things for first year teachers in different school districts. And then, of course, just welcoming back all the seasoned teachers. We do try to give away some gift cards in order to just add some extra supplies into teacher classrooms, surprise them with stuff like that. But a lot of fun things coming this August.
We got teachers out there right now going, hey, guys, pump the brakes. I want my summertime here. It's just a great example of why Cypress Credit Union is the perfect partner for our teacher tribute wall. And Amanda's going to chat with us again coming up here in about 10 minutes, so stay with us.
Tonight on NBC, summer's #1 show is back. America's Got Talent.
Are you ready?
With all the drama.
$1 million on the line.
All the emotion.
It would have been easier for me to give up, but I just can't do it.
And even more life-changing golden buzzers.
You know what's going to happen right now? This.
Join Terry, Simon, Howie, Heidi, and Sofia Vergara. The new season of America's Got Talent premieres tonight on NBC.
Tonight on KSL, you know what these street signs mean. Others not always obvious.
I don't know which one applies to where.
Confusing signs leading to unrighteous towing on Utah streets.
Go outside, my car's gone.
Who's responsible?
I didn't know where else to go, and I just wanted to contact you to see what you could do.
KSL's Matt Gephardt uncovers ways you can fight back when your car is hooked.
The signs have to be clear, and they have to be consistent.
Get Gephardt to know before you're towed. Tonight at 10.
KSL News Time, 8:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
police in Sandy are still searching for the suspects of an attempted robbery over the weekend. I'm KSL News Radio's Michael Kimmett.
Second, a UHP trooper is being charged with sexually abusing a woman while off duty. He was put on administrative leave last month after being arrested.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
I-15 backed up Midvale to South Salt Lake because of a crash on the left side at 3900 South. We still have some southbound traffic backed up on both I-15 and Legacy from Farmington into Centerville. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
After a beautiful Memorial Day, it gets even warmer with highs in the upper 80s. I'm Devin Mishuli.
Right now, 68 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Well, this could very well be the last day of testimony in the trial of Chad Daybell.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas joins us live with a look at what to expect today. Do you think they'll wrap it up this week, Greg?
Well, Amanda, the state said that they needed a day and a half to put on what's called their rebuttal, which is a response to what the defense did. And they took half of a day on Thursday. So if they are true to what they thought, the day and a half should end today. We didn't know how much the state was going to put on, and we don't know exactly what they're doing. But the defense did put on some witnesses, Chad's children. They put on some forensic experts. And I think the state realizes that they've got that information out there. They don't want the jury to just have it there without some response. And the judge is allowing them to put on their rebuttal case today. I think they should wrap up today.
I'm really curious, Greg, after hearing this testimony throughout this trial, what you think the defense's wrap will be on this. What are their closing arguments, do you think?
Well, their opening remarks, Tim, and I think their closings are going to be fairly close, and that is that Chad was not the ringleader leader in this. He was not the one that was calling the shots. It was Lori and her brother Alex Cox, and that they're the ones that actually did all of the bad things that he's being charged with here. He's got some problems, and the evidence didn't support that very well. Lori tried the same thing, sort of blaming Chad in her trial, and you saw that didn't work. But I think that's been the defense so far. There's a secondary defense, which is, at least as it relates to Chad's wife, Tammy, that maybe the state can't prove that she was killed in the first place and that it may have been an accidental death. So, the state has to prove not only the homicide, but who did it. And in that particular part of Chad's case, the defense put on an expert that said you can't say definitively that she was murdered or that she just had an accidental death.
So do you think it's possible that the jury would convict on some but not all of the charges then?
Yeah, I mean, there's still the two children, Tylee and JJ, and those are the ones, of course, that Chad's blaming Lori and her brother. With respect to Tammy, he's saying, well, you can't even prove that she was murdered. So the jury's going to have to weigh, and I think there are actually 6 or 7 counts total. Some of them, Amanda, are money related, the fraud as it relates to the insurance proceeds and Social Security benefits and whatnot. So, yeah, the jury's going to have to weigh every single one of those, all 12 jurors, and they're going to have to unanimously agree on guilt or innocence as to every single one of those 6 or 7 counts.
Well, we have appreciated your analysis all the way through this trial, Greg, and appreciate your time again today. Just want to remind listeners that our Adam Small is also there in Boise, and he's going to be monitoring and checking in with us throughout the rest of the day today.
And that's the In-Depth at 15:45.
It's 8:49, time for a look at traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st, coming up Saturday at all Sinclair locations. Still some slow going out there, Andy.
Yeah, we've got slowdowns between about 90 south and 3900 south. There's a crash on the left shoulder. Now, it's not stopped like when the crash is blocking multiple lanes, but it is going to take an extra 15 minutes or so to get from Sandy to Murray. And then unless you split off onto 215. You do have some slowing on the 201 freeway from 5600 west to Bangor, and then that delay clears up. Heather?
Well, we've got very unusual delays right now, both on southbound I-15 and southbound Legacy Parkway, between where Park Lane and US 89 merge onto both of those freeways and head south all the way into Centerville. Now, a lot of this is people are trying to decide which freeway they should take because they both had delays in the area. Now, once you get past all of that, if you stick with I-15, you're going to have some slowdowns still between Center Street and North Salt Lake into downtown. And if you stay with Legacy Parkway and then transition onto the West Side Belt, you'll be very slow heading toward the airport. Eric?
Just a touch of northbound I-15 slowing going by Timpanogos Highway heading up to Point of the Mountain. But if your travels on the freeway in Utah County are confined to exiting in Utah County, then you're going to be just fine. Redwood Road, though, getting slow from Camp Williams up to the Port of Rockwell intersection. Out in Tooele County, just your usual slowdown spots in Stansbury Park at the Pole Canyon Road intersection, for instance. But it's better at Lake Point than it was earlier this morning, getting on to I-80. Hogle Zoo has so much to explore, and now there's even more to love. The all-new Aline W. Skaggs Wild Utah exhibit and the Eccles Express train are now open at Hogle Zoo. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL forecast starts off with the warmest day of the year as highs soar into the upper 80s this afternoon under mostly sunny skies. Isolated shower will be possible in the higher terrain this afternoon and evening, but better rain chances will come during the afternoon and evening on Wednesday with a cold front. Temperatures will drop into the upper 70s on Wednesday with partly cloudy skies. Low 70s come Thursday with lots of sunshine to close out the week. Then we're back into the 80s Friday and the weekend. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mishuli.
68 degrees in the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
This is Lisa Nichols from Intermountain Health with Your Life, Your Health. With summer approaching, safety experts at Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital are issuing a reminder that supervision is critical to keeping kids safe around the water. Drowning is the second leading cause of preventable injury death for Utah children under age 14, with 70% of drowning deaths happening between May and August. Not all drowning deaths are related to summer activities. About 1 in 5 drownings happen in bathtubs. Another 28% happen